Everyone knows there are 20 managers in the Premier League, yeah? Well, actually, no. Around 3/4 of them are not managers. The terms manager and head coach are often used interchangeably to describe Premier League bosses, but they're actually two different jobs. So let's explain how and why. For years, fans referred to Mikel Arteta as Arsenal's manager, but I'm afraid technically...
No, I don't think so. No.
From his first day on the job, he was the Gunners' head coach. Let's pick a random moment in time, February 2025. Only 6 Premier League bosses actually held the official title of manager rather than head coach. Man City's Pep Guardiola, David Moyes of Everton, Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna, Southampton's Ivan Juric, Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace and Leicester's Ruud van Nistelrooy were the only actual managers of their respective teams. Everyone else? That's right, head coach, including Ruben Amorim at Man United. He took over from Erik ten Hag, a man who had held the title of manager. Might come as a surprise that Amorim's appointment marked the first time ever that Man United had a head coach instead of a manager. But to understand why they made that decision, you also have to get what the difference is between a head coach and a manager. A manager's got a huge range of responsibilities. They're not just in charge of training and player lineups, they're also heavily involved in player sales and transfers. Critical stuff. But a head coach's role is far more focused on team training and performance on the pitch. So whereas Ten Hag was highly involved with decisions around transfers during his tenure, the intention was that Amorim wouldn't be, at least not on the same level. And as the sporting structure at Man United changed under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, people like Sir Dave Brailsford took charge of transfers instead. How all those roles play out in practice may be slightly different at different clubs though. On the other hand, the contracts of actual managers like Pep or Moyes had no limits on their job role and their involvement with transfers and contracts. But those guys are actually in the minority now, and it's a change that's happened pretty quickly. In 2019, there were only 6 head coaches in the Premier League, but by 2025 there were 14. A clear indication that more and more clubs are moving towards a model where the guy in charge is actually only really in charge on the pitch. And the way things are going, it might not be long before all 20 clubs have got head coaches, and the job position of football manager in the top flight is no more.
Good evening and welcome to the final word on talkSPORT with me, Natalie Sawyer and Alan Pardew. Now, it may well be an international break, but that doesn't mean we haven't got plenty to talk about. I promise you, we do. Whilst Manchester United can't seem to find consistency even on the pitch, it seems as though that's what Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants off it. He has backed Ruben Amorim, saying he needs 3 years to get things right. Can they afford to wait that long, though? Or is longevity key to success? Crystal Palace chairman Steve Parish has told us that contract talks have begun with Oliver Glasner over a new deal. How imperative is it that they get that done? And what more can they achieve? Elsewhere, Thomas Tuchel isn't happy with England fans. Is he justified with his criticism of the quiet Wembley crowd? The Three Lions could book their place at next summer's World Cup with victory over Latvia on Tuesday. So we'll look ahead to that, whilst also bring you Alan's England World Cup team, his top 5 summer transfers, and we want to hear from you as always. We want your grassroots tales, a chance to give us the spotlight on the team that you support, perhaps the team you play in, maybe it's one of your family members, the volunteers, all the stories. That's what we want to hear from you today. So you can send us a voice note on WhatsApp to 03717 223344 and we'll give you a shout out throughout the show. And remember, talkSPORT is now on your smart TV, so just grab the app on Android TV and Google TV, and we're even on Prime Video. Crikey, you can see us everywhere. So come and watch us in our brilliant new studio. And as I said before, this is a show where we want your contribution as well. It is about you and your opinion. So please do get in touch. Give us a call as well on 03717 223344 to air your views to the nation on the final word. Phone in on talkSPORT. Oh, Alan, how are you?
That was a mouthful. You did well there.
I was going to say. I was thinking, when does this end? It was going on and on. I do apologise. But how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
All right, getting through this international break.
It's a little bit dull.
It's a little bit of a chore for some might say. That being said, there'll be a lot of fans listening in right now who support the Leagues 1, League 2, WSL sides,
Correct.
whoever it is,
Non-league.
who will be saying, just we keep going. So don't worry about us. We're happy. It's at this sort of time where I think, I remember the days when my club was in League 1 and we carried on.
But it's also, I think it's also one of those weekends where your Premier League fan will go to his local club,
well, that's what you
or
hope,
go down the
don't you?
road,
Yes.
and see how the local team are doing, etc., etc. So, that's always been a bit of a tradition. Like, for example, Crystal Palace fans would go to Bromley games. Unfortunately, Bromley were away yesterday, but they won up at Crewe, so that was good for our friend Woody.
Yes.
But so it'd be nice to hear from one or two, see how if they went and see a different club play.
That would be nice. Well, how different that sort of feel, that vibe, the atmosphere would have been if you decided you're normally a season ticket holder at a Premier League Championship side, for example, and you just thought, fancy going to one of my other local sides. And it'd be nice to hear how it all went down for you. Look, there is lots for us to get through, as I've already mentioned. We're with you for 3 hours. We'll keep you regularly updated as well on how Scotland are faring in their qualifiers. They're taking on Belarus. 1-0 they lead into the second half. It's just begun, but we'll keep you regularly updated on that. But we'll talk about Manchester United, shall we, first of all, because I'm sure despite this break, there'll be plenty of United fans who may well be itching to get on talkSPORT and talk about what's going on at their club. Because as I mentioned at the start there, they're not able to find consistency at this moment on the pitch. Maybe slightly at Old Trafford, but, they can't really buy a back-to-back win, it feels, obviously. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe has come out in full support, it feels, of Ruben Amorim. You might think that could be the kiss of death at the same time, saying he needs basically 3 years. 3 years to get it all working, and hopefully the Amorim project then works. Before we get your take on it, shall we hear from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who was talking in an interview with The Business, that's the Times new podcast, and he said exactly about why and how long he thinks Amorim needs to get things right then at Old Trafford.
We have to be patient, and we have a long-term plan. It isn't a light switch, and you can't run a club like Manchester United on knee-jerk reactions to some journalist who goes off on one. He needs to demonstrate that he's a great coach over 3 years.
So you give him 3 years?
Yeah, that's where I would be. Yeah.
So 3 years, he says, then that's the magic number he feels that perhaps Amorim should be given, which in some ways, as a manager like yourself, Alan, you must be thinking that's great.
Yeah,
3 years of security, who doesn't want that? But is that realistic in today's day and age?
The problem Jim's going to find is, how the pressure builds if results don't come. And of course, that always sways owners and boards in terms of the reaction of the fans. Luckily for Amorim, because of perhaps what's gone before, i.e. the last 6-7 years of really bad recruitment, the managers who haven't been successful, I think the fan base is actually quite loyal and quite supportive of him. We've spoke on this show numerous times about how confident and how assured he is in the press room, and you'd like to think he mirrors that on the training ground. So he seems an assured guy. He seems very confident. They play Liverpool away in the next game, which is, again, if he'd have lost, this last home game and then gone to Liverpool, the pressure would have been massive. So, Jim's comments then would have looked maybe slightly foolish. But, your average tenure across all the divisions is 1.5 years. So he's actually doubling it, in terms of the way he's foreseeing it. I genuinely hope that that is true, that he does get 3 years. I personally like him. I think he's a modern coach. He's obviously sticking a little bit, maybe too much to the principles of his system. Maybe he needs to loosen that up a little bit. I don't mean change the system, but maybe have a few more tweaks in it that work for the Premier League, because whatever was happening at Sporting Lisbon isn't happening at Man United, because Sporting Lisbon's results were amazing and Man United's have not been. So there's obviously a little bit of tweaking to be done there. I still think defensively they worry me, Man United. I still worry about them as a back three, back five, whatever you want to call it. It looks a little bit loose. I think going forward, Cunha's been injured, but I think when he comes back, I think they got firepower. I think they're going to win half their games for sure. And that, I think, will be enough for him to keep his job. So those words and the reassurance he has will sit nicely with Ruben, where he's probably on having some sardines today in Portugal and having a nice rest. I hope he is, and comes back fully charged for the weekend.
I suppose the issue, of course, you've sort of mentioned it already, if results don't go to plan and they end up in a similar situation to like what happened last season, where they did end up not in a relegation fight, because obviously the 3 that went down was so far apart from the rest.
Yeah.
But they were in the wrong place when you consider where they finished in the table, and any other season it might well have been a relegation battle for them, likewise with Tottenham too. Is there an element that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is meant to be this incredible businessman, as we know, I mean, how else do you become a billionaire like he has done without being such an incredible entrepreneur? But surely this could come back to bite him on the backside if it doesn't quite go to plan.
And, I'm told he's an abrasive character. You don't earn £1 billion without being abrasive, let me tell you. Yeah. So as smart as he is, he's definitely got a ruthless streak in him. I think we've seen that with some of the changes he's made at Man United behind the scenes, and they've been well documented. The food, the OAPs and things moving around, and stewards being moved from areas, etc., and losing their jobs, and the cutting back sort of scenario. So, I think in that interview, with the victory that they just had, life can seem so much more perfect when you're a Premier League owner or a manager, when you got a win under your belt. It's very difficult to have that kind of interview when you got 3 defeats, 6 defeats, 7 defeats. I think that Man United have got a good enough team this year to stay away from too much pressure. So I think Ruben's got a free year, personally. I do. I think he's got a good hit at it. And I think if he can get it in the next window, get a couple more in and strengthen the team, then, Man United possibly be a force again.
So when you say it's a free hit, I get that completely. Obviously, no European football, which is a blessing in that sense. So
and you can work week to week.
Yeah. So what, in your mind, then, would be the right area we'd be looking at for Manchester United to finish in? Bear in mind, this is a 3-year project sort of thing.
Yeah, well, they're 7th. They're 7 games in and they're 10th. So they're probably where I see them at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't think, when I look at them defensively, are they going to jump 5 places in the league? No. I can see them sort of between 14 and 6th, somewhere in that zone. And I think that keeps his job. But of course, next year will be very, very different. The pressure will start to mount. But, with that conversation that's just been had, with his new signings, and obviously with the 2 or 3 good results they've had already, I think he's okay at the moment, and I'm pleased for him. I mean, United fans might think differently.
Well, this is what we want to hear. I mean, how do you feel about what you've heard then from Sir Jim Ratcliffe United fans? 3 years is what he says Ruben Amorim needs to get things right, really, at Manchester United. Are you prepared to wait 3 years, even though things have been a little bit up and down with Ruben Amorim at the helm at Manchester United? It'd be great to hear from you. Let us know what you think. And, at the end of the day, like we've already mentioned, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, an incredible businessman. So perhaps he has that acumen to know how he can get success in a football team. It's very different, of course, with a football side than it is to the business activities.
There's been great businessmen who've come into football and failed miserably. And he won't be the first and he won't be the last. But, I think when it comes to, when you just look at the playing staff of Man United, there is some hope there. There is some hope there. And if they can keep things tight at the back, the new keeper who had a good game in his first game, if he can start getting clean sheets, then suddenly Man United can move up the league.
Okay. We'll talk more about this, no doubt. But as we say, we want to hear from you as well. It's really important you get in touch because this is your chance to have your say in whether or not you agree then with what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said. Or have you seen enough already to think that Ruben Amorim won't bring you the success you've been longing for so very, very long, especially in the Premier League? You can get in touch in the usual way, 03717 223344. That's the number to call us on. You can text us as well at 81089. You can also WhatsApp us on that 03717 223344 number. But it's right for us to check in with the WSL action that is taking place right now. And there has been a goal for Steve Hollershaw. What's happened?
It's Liverpool 1, Manchester City 1. Iman Benny, she's rescued City again and is fast becoming one of the first names on the Manchester City team sheet. Bunny Shaw's header forced a one-handed save from Borgraf in the Liverpool goal, and Benny was there at the far post to slam home into the roof of the net. Capox had put Liverpool ahead. Benny with the equaliser. Liverpool 1, Manchester City 1.
OK, we'll keep you updated on that, as we will with Scotland, who lead by 1-0 in their World Cup qualifier. Now, Alan, how about this? Some breaking news just reaching us. Luton looking to make a quick appointment after Matt Bloomfield lost his role in the job back in, well, they're now in League One, aren't they, after successive relegations. And it seems as though they are closing in on the appointment of Jack Wilshere as their new manager. talkSPORT understands this.
I understand that also. My sources.
Really?
So subject to...
Are you rivaling talkSPORT sources?
Yeah. I'm very much aware that he's going to be the Luton manager. And I wish him all the success. He's a young manager, you know, and he's coming into a scenario where a team has taken a huge hit, you know, 2 huge hits, and mentally the whole place needs a lift. And maybe a young coach with progressive ideas and the enthusiasm to lift everybody will be much needed. I hope he gets some guidance. He needs some guidance from a senior manager because the situation they're in, they need to bounce back this year. They definitely got the squad to do it, and it's about putting a run together and making sure that minimum for Luton is playoffs.
We'll talk more about that because I think that's fascinating what you're saying about a new manager needing guidance and how that is really, really important. We'll come back to that, I'm sure. But it does seem as though Luton then are closing in on the appointment of Jack Wilshere. It did seem as though Richie Wellens was their first choice, their top target, but he has opted to stay at Leyton Orient, so our sources say. So now Wilshere is in the running to become the new
I always hate
manager.
those kind of, you know, those kind of reports. Because how does he feel? Like, oh, yeah. Oh, Richie was meant to get the job, but you got it, you know, and good luck.
Wasn't first choice, wasn't second choice, wasn't third choice. It was just whoever was left, really.
Yeah,
That's sometimes what we end up saying.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we'll talk more about that. And Luton fans, if you want to get in touch and let us know what you make of it, please do. We would love to hear from you. This is the final word you're tuning into on talkSPORT. this is the final word. Thank you very much for tuning in to us this Sunday morning. It is Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you. Sunday morning.
I know you do Sunday mornings.
I don't anymore. That's the thing. How ridiculous. Oh, gosh. I'm so used to saying Sunday mornings, but it's Sunday evening. Thank you for picking me up on that, because I need correction, certainly. Lots for us to get through. I know a load of Manchester United fans have already called us in to have their say on the fact that Ruben Amorim, I say this, just been a goal in the Scotland qualifier. So let's take you to David Tanner. What's happened?
It's Scotland 1, Belarus 1. We've played 63 minutes. And if Jenny Milancevic has just scored a close-range goal, what a shocker for Scotland, who just about a minute earlier thought they were going to get a penalty kick. There was a VAR check. Shea Adams got himself between the ball and centre-back Yegor Paramenko. The defender touched the ball with his hand on the ground. Then he looked to pull down Shea Adams. The referee incredibly waved play on, and eventually there was a VAR check on the ball, on the penalty. The referee went over, had a long look at it, and spotted that Shea Adams the ball hit his arm before the other fouls that happened inside the box. Eventually the referee got it right, but my goodness me, the Romanian ref has not been on the ball. Then from that, a couple of minutes later, Belarus go up and score a terrific goal. Andy Robertson couldn't quite get a tackle in, and the ball was scored at close range. Now there is a goal check on at the moment for VAR, and the referee is coming over to check the monitor. It's going to be quite a while he looks at it. As it stands, the score is Scotland 1, Belarus 1. Come back to me and I'll update you on the VAR check.
Okay, David, thank you very much. I mean, you've been keeping right across this, Alan, and you think this will be disallowed?
No, I think there's a possibility this will be ruled off, because McTominay looks like he's got a kind of a robust challenge, put it that way. And he goes down, and from that moment, they go up the other end and score. It's tight, but I think because they've called him over to the monitor, the referee will crumble.
And
it's normal.
He has just got to the ball ahead of the Belarusian player. Yeah. That being said, you just never know. The referee might look upon it as a sort of 50-50-ish kind of coming together. Yeah. That being said, we are about to see what he has to say as he has reviewed this. And in moments ago, he was at that VAR monitor, wasn't he? Yeah. David Tanner, let's find out what's happened.
The goal for Belarus has been disallowed, so the score remains Scotland 1, Belarus 0. As Alan just described it, Evgeny Yablonski body checked Scott McTominay, and as such, the goal does not stand. That is a big let-off for Scotland. The Hampden crowd's getting a lift from that, and let's see if Scotland can go and build on it now. It's Scotland 1, Belarus 0 after a VAR check.
Oh, that is massive.
Did you see any of the Scotland-Greece game?
I didn't. No, tell me more.
Well, Scotland was so fortunate. I mean, incredibly.
Oh, I heard, yes, because they had a big win in the end. But
fortunate to have won that, and they've had two strokes of luck within a minute. I don't know what he's done up there, but there's obviously something in the whiskey, maybe. But they've had a VAR call for penalty that didn't go their way, Belarus, and now they've just had a goal disallowed, and it's a bit harsh because it definitely looks like a tackle that in 1987 would have been definitely okay.
If that was you, you'd be remonstrating right now. You'd be livid if that was disallowed. But hey-ho, it does mean it's positive for Scotland then, who, as things stand, are top of their group. They are 3 points clear of Denmark, who do still have to play their fourth match in this group. We'll keep you regularly updated on how this one all pans out. But let's get back onto Manchester United, shall we, and the fact that Ruben Amorim has been given the public backing as well, of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who was speaking on a New Times podcast, saying that 3 years is what he wants to give Amorim to get things right at the club. Lots of you have been getting in touch already this morning to have... This morning? What am I like? That's ridiculous. This evening. Billy, let's come to you. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very, very well, thank you. Even though I can't tell the difference between morning and evening, but hey-ho. Tell us what you think then of what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has had to say on Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, well, I just think it's very refreshing. It's very refreshing to see an owner of a football club come out and support the manager. And and I think he's right to do it. I think Ruben Aarons doing the right things. The club's going the right way, in my opinion, and it's just good to hear. It's a refreshing thought, and it just brings me back to, listen, I'm only 34, but I grew up watching Man United when Fergie was in charge, and I've done all my history lessons on Man United, and if they got rid of him, he wouldn't have brought the success that we had. So, I just feel like it's very Fergie-esque.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at that, I mean, as a manager, it's a lovely trait for the owner to come out and give you such public offerings, because it doesn't happen as a rule usually. So he's gone against the grain, so to speak, and I think you're right. And I sincerely hope that Man United become a force again. Do you think? Where do you think about the kind of weaknesses of Man United? Where do you see the weaknesses at the moment?
I think it's the midfield. I think we've got a good bunch of defenders, but there's no confidence in the midfield in front. Fernandes shouldn't be playing that deep line role, and we need a solid sort of CDM to sit in front of them, and that will give the defenders, because look, there's no pace in the centre halves really, apart from Yoro, and he's only a young kid. Luke Shaw's obviously playing there now and again, but he's not a centre half, and in that three, I just feel like they need assurance from their midfield, and they don't have that, which is why you're seeing them get caught short all the time.
Billy, thank you for your call. Let's turn to Lewis, who's also rung up to have his say on the situation at his club, Manchester United. How are you doing, Lewis?
Yeah, evening. I mean, let me react to Billy first, and then Jim Ratcliffe.
Go on.
I'm not sure where Billy's been for the last 12 months under Amorim. I mean, I'll just give him a recap. Worst Premier League finish in our history. We've had the worst Premier League start to this season in the last 30-odd years. We're out of the League Cup. The football is terrible. We've got no European football, and he thinks we're going in the right direction. So I'm very surprised to hear that from a fellow United fan. Talking about Ratcliffe, I mean, for me it means nothing. We have seen, Alan, you just said there, this was rare to see, but we have seen owners. Karen Brady just did it recently back in Potter, and then he was sacked a month later. 6 weeks later. We have seen it, we have seen it many times, boards or owners backing the manager, and they're gone within, a few weeks or months. So for me, it means nothing. I mean, let's break down what he said, Ratcliffe. It's a knee-jerk. We don't do knee-jerk reactions here at Man United. Now, for me, 1 year he's been at the club, Amorim, in a couple of weeks or 3 weeks. That's not knee-jerk after 1 year. You can see what I've just reeled off there. Amorim has presided over all those disasters and losing the Europa League final, and we're not. We can see we're not going in the right direction. Why does he have to give 3 years or say 3 years? It's ridiculous. He's just teeing himself up to make himself look stupid. If we lose the next few games, we're in the relegation zone or near to it. He's going to look very silly. And then if he does sack him at some point this season, then he just didn't need to say it. Now for me, if you look at all the other things he said there, you can go through it all individually and just say, no, I disagree with all of those things. I wasn't refreshed by that at all. Amorim, for me, clearly he's not good enough. He should have gone after that Europa League disaster final. I've seen enough. 12 months is enough. I think that the board are still hoping we're going to finish in the top four. But I tell you, the manager or the owners, exactly. It won't happen. We're not going to finish in the top half, in my opinion, let alone top four. I think once the reality kicks in later on in the season that United can't get top four Champions League football, then decisions, I think, will be made, and we'll be looking at other managers, because money talks and deals and sponsorships, when things start going wrong and it's affecting the money coming into the club, how bad we are on the pitch, then the ownership will start to look at that and be concerned. Yeah, so
and Jim will be definitely all over that. I mean, one of the issues that Ten Hag had, right, Man United, and all under his tenure, I kept saying about, losses, this and whatever. The goal difference was always minus, always, right? So you're talking about Manchester United here, who should score more goals than the opposition, right? I mean, that is a minimum. And here we are, we're still sitting at Man United on -2 on goal difference. It's always a telling stat, that, to me, whether you're going to be a top club. and they're sitting. When you look at teams who are below them, they got a better goal difference. So it might suggest that they're slightly above where they should be, in my opinion. But I take your point. The point I was making about Jim Ratcliffe was actually Man United actually saying anything about their manager, because they normally, under the last ownership, they say nothing. So at least we've got something.
Yeah.
Even if it might be a faux pas, it's something.
Yeah. Lewis, thank you very much
Thanks,
for
Lewis.
your call. And if you want to have your say, Manchester United fans, please do get in touch.
And I think the two calls we've had is very much where Man United is.
Opposites. They're very divided.
There's like kind of a good 50% split there of like, no, we've seen enough of him. He hasn't done it. He's got to go. And the other 50% saying, well, maybe we have seen enough. And it's like that half glass full.
No, but you're absolutely right. It is interesting. If this was, and I know we're going to hit a break in just a moment, but if this was Evangelos Marinakis at Nottingham Forest coming out and saying this about Ange Postecoglou, you might understand that, because he's not had that much time at the club really to make an imprint. And I know obviously there are a lot of Forest fans already who are wanting Ange Postecoglou out. But he has been in charge nearly for a year, Ruben Amorim. So it does seem a little bit funny that he's still saying, I'm backing him for more, 3 years to get this project right.
And the difference between Marinakis and Jim Ratcliffe, although they're both very successful businessmen, is Marinakis has a lot of experience as an owner of the Olympiacos and other clubs that he owns. So, he probably wouldn't have made that statement.
Perhaps so, yeah. By the way, the ball was in the net again in the Scotland game, but it was disallowed this time. It would have been a second for Scotland. Che Adams was the player that got the ball in the net, but it was either an offside or a handball. VAR did look over it, but in the end it was ruled out. So Scotland still lead Belarus by 1-0. Lots more to come. We've got a very busy show. Manchester United fans, we do want to hear from you and what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has had to say. Do you believe he's right to back Ruben Amorim after nearly a year in charge? Have you seen much to think actually he can get things right? Get in touch. We're also going to talk Crystal Palace after Steve Parish joined talkSPORT earlier today.
On your
A very good evening to you. This is the final word here on talkSPORT. It's Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you until 9 o'clock. And don't forget, on this show, we want to hear your grassroots stories, especially an international break, because a lot of you, I'm sure, would have gone down to your local club just to see what they're at, what they're doing, and maybe it's the first time you've gone down, or perhaps you're part of one of these sides and you want to give them a shout out, or maybe there's a volunteer, whatever it is, whatever story it is, we want to hear from you, because it's a real opportunity for you to just highlight some of the great work that your local clubs do. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note to 03717 223344. The phone lines are also open if you want to call us and have a chat about it. Manchester United fans, we also say that to you too. But before we get back on to Man United, which we've been discussing already on this show, let's take you to the WSL game between Liverpool and Manchester City, where there has been another goal. This one into added on time. Steve Hollishaw.
Deep into injury time. It's 95 minutes now, but it's Liverpool 1, Manchester City 2. Firmino with the Manchester City goal to take them in front. It was Lohman who fired the ball. Firmino slotted home from it, and for a second game they've scored a vital goal late on to, I think, probably take all 3 points. The referee has been looking at his clock for a moment or two to see whether they should blow for full time, but this City side have shown great resilience, and it looks like they'll take all the points at Anfield. As I say, maybe a minute left in this game. Liverpool 1, Manchester City 2.
Steve, thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll bring you a full-time score on that one once that whistle blows, and keep you updated on how Scotland are faring as they top their World Cup qualifying group. They lead Belarus by 1-0. Let's get back onto Manchester United, shall we? Lots of you have been getting in touch, and it's fair to say on our messages that I've seen so far, which I'll read some out a little bit later, most not in agreement with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Most of you not perhaps even believing what Sir Jim has said about backing Ruben Amorim. But let's first of all take you to Michael, the United fan. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm all right, thank you, Natalie.
Great to have you with us, Michael. So come on then, do you agree with what Sir Jim has had to say?
I don't know what you can believe with Jim.
Okay.
I have to go back to like the overlap when he sat down with Gary Neville and said, this club, last season, this club would be skint. There's no money, all the cutbacks and everything, and somehow we managed to spend 200 quid in the kitty. Now he backs Amorim, and I'm going, how can you back a manager who has the worst record of any manager since World War II? The worst starting over 30-odd years. His system of play does not work. Putting Bruno Fernandes in a deeper position is not working. You might as well hand over Liverpool next week and go, well, here's the team sheet, here's the way I'm going to play, come and beat me. It's simple as that. He is not capable of being adaptable. Now, if you're a top manager, and Alan will tell you this, you have to show some sort of adaptability.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, we've spoke before, and I agree with you on the number 8 position. Is a tricky position in that system, because that's exactly the same system that Crystal Palace play, who we're going to talk about later. They play it, but their two midfield players have got amazing defensive qualities. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, if you're going to play Fernandes in one of them roles, you're going to get found out. And unfortunately, with the back three that they have, as I think it was Billy who mentioned earlier, he was saying about, we need someone to protect the back three. Well, that does need protecting that back three, because it doesn't give me reassurance. And having Fernandes sitting in there at the moment as a sort of playmaker stroke Modric role that he played for Croatia, where he played one of the sitters, much more experience, much more kind of technical ability to play that role. Fernandes has always had different abilities further up the pitch. So I see those reservations, and I think this is where, the balance of that team is a problem. And Amorim, as Michael suggests, needs to kind of have a real think, particularly if he's going to Liverpool, what his setup's going to be.
But that's the issue that he has, alongside a few other managers that we know are so wedded to how they play that they don't want to differ. They don't want to alter away from that, which I don't really understand why, because it's not a weakness if you decide to shake things up a little bit. I mean, we've even seen it this year that Pep Guardiola has sometimes mixed things up a little bit.
Yeah, but I always think this, and someone said it this week, and another manager, which I totally agree with, I think it might have been Arteta, but the system, you can set up a system, right? But you can set it up defensively or in an attacking mode, the same system. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So instead of having a Fernandez as number 8, you have 2 sitting midfield players. Okay, straight away, that's a different setup. When he goes to Liverpool, I expect him to do that. So Manu might come into the team, for example, and Casemiro might be the other midfield player. They might play 2 sitters. So it depends. So he has the option of keeping his system, and I haven't got a problem with his system. It's just how it's made
Personnel.
up. Correct.
Right.
The round hole in the round peg. Sometimes when you are playing certain opposition, if they are more powerful than you, you might need another peg in that particular peg. Not a square peg.
Tight one.
A round peg that goes in a round hole. So that's my point. So the versatility, the ability to adapt, the substitutions. Now, one of the question marks I would suggest about Amorim, which sometimes I watch him, is his substitutions. They concern me a little bit, some of his choices. I've watched the game. I've seen it from a manager's perspective. I'm thinking, I don't understand why you've done that. For example, this thing about changing centre-backs.
Yeah, for like type thing.
Yeah, in the 83rd minute or something. I just don't see it. And so as much as I like him, I am a little bit like your average Man United supporter. There's me 50% love him, and there's 50% thinking,
Well, you're questioning him. That 50% questions him, shall we say. Absolutely. There has been another goal in the game between Scotland and Belarus. Let's find out which way this one's gone. David Tanner.
Natalie, finally, it's Scotland 2, Belarus 0, and it's Scott McTominay with a cracking finish from 8 yards out, set up by a cross by Andy Robertson after an extended period of Scotland attacking play. The Hampden Park crowd were getting pretty restless. There were some boos and some jeers in recent minutes, but finally this cracking left foot shot into the bottom corner, the goalkeeper almost got a hand to it, has steadied Scotland, and it's guaranteed them a win. 86 minutes gone now. It's Scotland 2, Belarus 0.
And that is a goal that they had already gone top of Group C, but it certainly puts them 3 points clear of Denmark, who do play later today when they take on Greece, and that could see Denmark go back to the top. But a really big win for Scotland.
Yeah, and as we are talking about Man United, another great decision to let McTominay go and win Serie A in Italy with Napoli, and
then he gets
scoring for Scotland,
nominated for the Ballon d'Or and all sorts.
I know, incredible.
Yeah. Question of the one that got away, perhaps. You never know. Let's also just bring you a full-time check of the final WSL game that was taking place this evening. It was Liverpool against Manchester City. Steve Holdershaw.
Yeah, full-time Liverpool 1, Manchester City 2. This Manchester City team have a never-say-die attitude, and late goals to grab all 3 points are becoming a trademark. City dug deep, came from behind and got the points and kept the pressure on Chelsea at the top of the WSL. The Liverpool keeper Rafael Borgraf was outstanding in the first 45. The odds would have been on City to take the lead, but in a rare attack in the second half, Capox headed home to put Liverpool ahead. Soon City were back level. Iman Benny smashing home into the roof of the net. City smelt blood, and when Fagino slotted home on 85 minutes, the comeback was complete. Gemma Bonner thought she'd hammered home an equaliser on 97, but the flag was up. Still no points on the board after 5 games for Liverpool, but a battling, resilient display for them. City still very much title contenders. Full-time at Anfield, Liverpool 1, Manchester City 2.
Steve, thank you very much. Let's just read a flavour of the messages that we've been receiving on Manchester United. This one says, every manager has done better than Amorim. Keeping the worst one doesn't seem to make any sense. This one also says, where was it? Here we go. From John. I've wanted Amorim to go since February. As soon as Amorim hung the squad out to dry in public, saying it's the worst United team ever. He says, if we keep him for 3 years, we'll face serious relegation. Other than new players, what is Amorim going to change? He's already signed Cunha and Burmo and Sesko, and we look no better, he says. Does that make sense to you as well, with those new signings? Have any of them actually lit up the Premier League at Manchester United? Or is that unfair because Manchester United themselves aren't exactly lighting things up?
Well, I think the jury's still out on the signings that he's brought in. I mean, I'm a big fan of Cunha, and I think he's going to do well in a Man United shirt. But again, it leaves Fernandes in a bit of a hole in terms of the positions that he plays. So is he going to play Fernandes and leave Cunha on the bench? That's a difficult if you've just paid so much money for this guy. So he's got some tough decisions to make. That's what it happens to be when you're a Man United manager.
So if you pay the big bucks, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
What we are into the nearly 90th minute in the game between Scotland and Belarus, and it's all looking very good for Scotland, as we've said. But there's been a few VAR decisions in this one. A penalty decision that went against Belarus, a goal disallowed for Belarus. Shea Adams had a second goal disallowed as well, but they do lead 2-0 currently, Scotland. So looking really, really good for them. Don't forget, we do want to hear from you this evening, especially the grassroots stories, because you were telling me, Alan, that everyone likes to get in touch with their grassroots stories.
Yeah, well, we've always because obviously it's Sunday today, and there's a lot of Sunday morning soccer.
Yeah.
We like to hear from the guys and girls who have done brilliant today. We like about to hear from Hat Trick Billy or Cynthia, who's got 4 goals in her game.
It's your chance.
We want to, get it out there. Let's hear from them.
Exactly. It's your chance to big them up this evening. So do get in touch. 03717 223344. That's the number to call us on, but that's also the WhatsApp number if you want to message us or send us a voice note, because it's really nice to hear your voices too. Or you can text us to 81089. Why not join us here on The Final Word? Good evening. Thank you very much for tuning in to the final word here on talkSPORT, where you have the chance to have your say on any of the matters from the sporting weekend and any of the conversations that we're having right now. In fact, we've been talking about Manchester United, and it's fair to say a lot of United fans want to have their voice heard on what Sir Jim Ratcliffe had to say recently on the future of Ruben Amorim, and it seems as though he is saying, no, he's very much our man. He's going to give him 3 years to get things right at Manchester United. Speaking on the Times' new business podcast. And as I say, fair few United fans getting in touch. So let's go to Alice, who's waiting to speak to us. Alice, how are you doing this evening? Is she there?
Alice is in Wonderland.
Alice, no, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Just so happy
Not in
with
Talk
everything.
Land, but she's in Wonderland.
Let's go to Sammy then. Let's see if Sammy's in Wonderland with what Sir Jim Ratcliffe had to say. Sammy, how are you?
Good evening, Natalie. Good evening, Alan. Pleasure speaking to you both.
Nice to have you with us as well. So which side of the sort of argument are you on, or debate, shall we say? Are you pro what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has had to say, or are you thinking, come on, we've seen enough?
Yeah, I was a bit torn. I want to start off by saying, Natalie, don't be too hard on yourself about saying good morning, because you normally do the morning. It's better, so.
Thank you, Sammy.
Made her feel at home, Sammy. Well done.
Very kind.
Yeah. No, I was a bit torn, but a couple of weeks ago, but it was refreshing here. I mean, I think they have to. It depends now moving forward. If they're going to back Amorim, it's always refreshing to just own a backing. But it's going to depend. It's going to depend obviously on the results coming up, and they have to. The people that are deciding it, they have to look at themselves. Or the manager we've had lost since Alex Ferguson has left. Look at if there's we can't make too many more mistakes. We have to move forward. We have to. I mean, I would have liked to see us get a good goalkeeper ahead of the season. A really good goalkeeper.
Well, I mean, obviously we don't know much about the new goalkeeper in the sense of we'll wait to see.
Started well. I mean, you know, I think when the iconic fixture, let's be honest, Liverpool Man United, it's an iconic Premier League fixture. And I think the timing of that business podcast was in tune with that, to kind of go like, okay, let's take all the uncertainty about the manager away if he was to lose the game. Let's go, right, he's our manager, he's our man, right? So he gets a free run at the game, so to speak. And in a way, you'd have to say that Slot will be under a little bit of pressure in that game, rather than Amorim to a degree, because obviously he's lost the last 3 games. Not about losing his job, of course, but just, you know, the pressure does build when you're the champions as well. So I think the agenda, the PR agenda, was a tick there in terms of going into that game. Whether it's a tick 10 games down the line, if they lose 6 or 7 of those, then that will be very, very different for Mr. Ratcliffe decision. But, you know, how many times have we heard owners come on, support the manager, and Karen Brady being the last one perhaps that we can think of, where, yes, he's our man, and then, you know, he's gone. So it's only words.
Yes, that is true. Right, quickly, get back to David Tanner, because there has been another goal, and we're into added on time as well. David?
We're into the final minute of 8 added on, and it's now Scotland 2, Belarus 1. Belarus scoring on a terrific break. Kleb Kuchko got the goal, and Scotland are really going about this the hard way if they're going to get the win they need. Just about a minute to go, and you can hear behind me what the fans make of it all. They ain't happy. Scotland 2, Belarus 1.
David, thank you very much. Just quickly going back onto them, what's the Jim Ratcliffe had?
I'll just quickly mention about this game.
Go on.
Because it's a poor standard, by the way. And Scotland, you know, should be beating this team with a bit to spare. And yet they're struggling away and gifting the ball, etc., etc. It's an indication sometimes of what Premier League managers think of international football, that it's actually a step down, most of it. Obviously, when you get to World Cup finals and European Championship finals, you're at the very similar level when you get to the quarter-final, semi-final stage. But a lot of these games are well below the level of a Premier League game.
Well, I mean,
including this one.
You're right in terms of Belarus in the group, bottom, yet to win, yet to draw. In fact, have lost all of their qualifying games so far. I suppose at the end of the day, a win is a win.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking about that later on, I think, about the international windows and how they're structured, where UEFA and FIFA are now getting the qualifying process to such a degree that all the big teams will be arriving because it's so easy to get there. And it's proving to be dull and actually, I think, a little bit insulting to the paying public, some of these games. And wherever we go to a Swiss system where there's a league table and we get one or two good teams to play, might give a better advert for what we're trying to achieve here.
Well, it is all over at Hampden, so let's check in with that final score. David Tanner.
Yes, it's finally over. It's Scotland 2, Belarus 1. It wasn't an impressive performance, as Alan's just outlined there, but Scotland have won a game that, if coupled with a Denmark win later this evening, will guarantee the Scots at least a World Cup playoff spot. Scotland took the lead after a quarter of an hour. Jack Hendry put Shea Adams through, and he finished stylishly for his 11th goal for his country. But the assistant put his flag up. Unfortunately, VAR was on hand to show how wrong that decision was, and the goal stood. Another VAR check didn't award a penalty to Scotland, as the ball had glanced against Shea Adams' arm before he was fouled, not once but twice. Belarus then went straight up the pitch and scored what looked like a terrific equaliser through Evgeny Malchevich, but VAR spotted a foul on McTominay in the build-up, a soft foul at that. Adams had the ball in the net in the middle of the second half, and guess what? VAR disallowed it as Adams used an arm to score. The second goal eventually came 6 minutes from the end. Andy Robertson crossing from Scott McTominay, and VAR didn't get involved for once. 8 minutes were added on due to the VAR delays, and during that period, Belarus pulled one back through Kleb Kuchko, a goal they did deserve. Scotland not at their best, they were booed off by the fans, but listen, they used all their experience to get a crucial win. They got the win in the end. Scotland 2, Belarus 1, Natalie.
David, thank you very much. Yeah, Belarus ranked 100 in the world, but they outshot Scotland at Hampden. They had 22 shots in that game to Scotland's 12. Now, the shots on target slightly different, with Scotland faring better 6-3. But even the XG, if you like your XG, Belarus just shaded that one too. So, yeah, it was a bit of a test, that one, for Scotland. But at the end of the day, they got the 3 points that takes them top of Group C. Although Denmark, as David was saying, do play later as they host Greece. OK, speaking of the World Cup then, England know that a win in Latvia on Tuesday will see them through to next year's finals. We'll look ahead to that. We'll discuss the state of play of England as well here on The Final Word.
Football fans all have stadiums we love, but do any of us have a pitch that we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that? And what are the actual rules? Back when association football started, pitches could be up to 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road. Not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe for international matches, which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs had been rebels, not intentionally, but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury, for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge to adjust. White Hart Lane was exactly the same. And actually, when Spurs temporarily moved to Wembley, they asked the FA to shorten the pitch. The FA, very offended by the sacrilegious suggestion, said no, which in fairness could have actually benefited Tottenham, because when they moved into their shiny new stadium, the pitch was exactly the same size as Wembley's. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one. It's 2 metres wider than any other pitch in the Premier League. But the smallest of all, Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 wide. No excuse for not tracking your man. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too. At Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. At least they don't play on a slope like Newcastle do. There's a 2-metre incline on the pitch at St James's Park. And don't get me started on the old pitch at Yeovil too. It used to be a slant of 2 metres corner to corner and across the halfway line. So UEFA have their standards, so do the FA, but they do give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long and between 45 and 90 metres wide. I mean, the rules state you can't have a square pitch, but in theory you could have one that's 91 metres long and 90 wide. Imagine rocking up to play a Sunday League game and the pitch is basically a square. So there are rules and regulations on sizes, with a UEFA standard that roughly everyone follows, but as we all know, size doesn't matter, does it?
Good evening. This is the final word here on talkSPORT. Thank you very much for joining us this Sunday evening. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me it is Alan Pardew. Madge is in Ibiza, we think.
Yeah.
Enjoying himself.
Well, I don't know about enjoying himself. According to him, he'd be working hard, mixing, trying to blend, or whatever they do. Blend and produce.
Sounds like you know the lingo better than me anyway. I haven't a clue.
Yeah, he's taught me a few things.
Has he? Okay. Does that mean you've got your own decks?
No,
not
it
yet.
Means you just go onto AI and just put a bit of music in and, a few words and it does it for you.
Quite, yeah. They all cheat it now. Is that what you're
that's
saying?
It, yeah.
Not like the old days.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for all of you who've already been in touch this evening with regards to the Manchester United conversation we were having, where Sir Jim Ratcliffe has backed Ruben Amorim to get things right in 3 years. He believes that's what he needs, and been really, as I say, great to hear from all of you United fans who have been in touch. But we still want you to get in touch with regards to what else we have to say. And we're going to be talking about England in just a moment. But we do also want your grassroots stories, because in this international break, actually, there's nothing better than to highlight those local sides, those lower league clubs, the non-league sides too, just to let us know the good work that they do in their local community. Maybe you want to highlight the volunteers who just put in sterling work to make sure that those matches and those clubs continue as they are, or maybe you just want to highlight your good game or your family's good game. Whatever it is, we just want to hear from you.
I had a little thought this week, because I played golf with a guy who's a manager of his under-14 team, and the reason he's manager is because his son plays.
Okay.
And I've heard that story, as you have, millions of times across schools and counties up and down the land. It's usually a parent who has to go, right, okay, can you run the team? And then obviously all the parents saying, well, my little Johnny should play, and why was he sub, etc. And I think there should be, the FA should do a coaching course for those particular fathers, because that's a unique position, isn't it? to be a parent, not only the manager, but to be a parent as well, and how to deal with it and how to deal with the other parents. So I think there should be some kind of FA sort of little recruitment thing where you could go for a couple of weeks and get a few tips.
Guidance.
Some guidance.
Yeah. Would you ever help out with something?
Of course I would, absolutely. Yeah. I might run it. But, you know...
Always thinking is our Alan.
Listen, the problem you got, you know, when with those junior teams in particular is everybody, of course, has so much ambition. And parents, unfortunately, have much more ambition than the child. The child just wants to play and run and have a little laugh with their friends. And the parents are like, he's going to be a pro.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Don't take it so seriously. Just enjoy it and let them have fun. But yeah,
there is a lot of good, as we know, people out there who are doing that job, and fair play to them. And I applaud them, and I doff the cap to them.
Well, let's doff the cap even further. Come on air, tell us about those stories, or send us a WhatsApp voice note 03717 223344. That's the number for WhatsApp, and also the number to call us on, or you can text us to 81089. And I know a few of you have sent in some messages which we'll read out in a short while. But we've got to talk about England, haven't we? Because they're on the cusp of securing their place at the World Cup for... Did you doubt it? I note the sarcasm in your voice. They obviously got off to a great win at Wembley on Thursday in a friendly. Now, some people might argue it wasn't a friendly when it's Wales, when it's a home nation's rival. But let's hear how the England manager Thomas Tuchel managed to ruffle a few feathers after that win.
And it's another win for England against Wales. Same story that it has been every time these two have met since 1984. England racing into a fabulous 3-0 lead with goals from Rodgers, Watkins and Saka. The feeling remains that England are certainly moving in the right direction.
A building block on last month's 2 victories. Thomas will be pleased with that. You take all the positives out of it and we move on to a qualifier.
I said the support in Serbia was absolutely fantastic when we played last time in Serbia. I said it and I meant it. I love English football and I love English football fans and the support they give. But I think today the atmosphere did not match the performance on the field.
Thomas Tuchel, they're not happy with the support his side received then during that victory over Wales. It's not the first time. He said a few things that's been a little controversial. I don't know if you'd want to say that Wembley atmosphere was controversial, but hey, obviously after what he'd said about Jude Bellingham on talkSPORT, where he referred to him as repulsive, for example, he does like to grab the headlines, maybe unintentionally, but that's certainly what happens. Is he right to call out the fans like he's done there?
Well, I was on to preview this show. I was on earlier with Sam and Perry. And Perry thought it was a calculated move by him to kind of bring everybody together, i.e., get the fans and the team sort of as one. I slightly disagree with that. I don't think it was premeditated. I think he just got lost in a press conference, which you can do as a manager, where there's not really much talk about. The victory was straightforward, and the press are trying to looking for an angle for a story. What did you think of the crowd tonight? It was a bit quiet, kind of teed him up nicely, and he fell into it. And that is one of the issues of being the England manager, is stumbling blocks along the way with the press in terms of how you talk about a player. Any soundbite you give is absolute gold dust. So you'll be very, very careful how you measure that. When you're a manager of a big football club, like I was at Newcastle, it's very, very similar. And you have to get into that mode. Now, Thomas has obviously been at big clubs. He understands how it works. He's not naive to it. But the England job is slightly different. And Wembley, the old Wembley and the new Wembley, let's start with that, has always been tricky games where there's been no participation. Sometimes you just get a funny crowd. It's a difficult place to get to. It's aggravation.
It's true, they're all factors. supporters.
You're just looking for a bit of entertainment. There's no entertainment coming, and you end up sitting there and thinking, I don't even know why I bothered. And some of the fixtures, of course, I wouldn't say wows, because that would definitely be insulting and I'd get a million texts. But some of the fixtures that we do have to play, against opposition that is so straightforward that, and unfortunately, when I say straightforward, I'm not talking about from a professional level, but from a fan-paying public. You would expect, like, Scotland to beat Belarus. It's Scotland today. They're booing them off, right? It's an important win for them because it gives them a real big cushion between them and Greece. So it's a big, big win today for Scotland. But the crowd didn't see it like that. I mean, the manager will, and he'll talk about it in a minute. We'll probably have his interview later. But the point I'm making is that, for me, you should have just left it alone. Just left it alone and let them talk about the Rodgers and some of the positives that come out of the team.
But obviously with him as well, this is his first international job. So he's used to club management.
Yeah.
He's used to the partisan club atmosphere because, let's face it, most stadiums where you have your season ticket, you've got your same seat that you go to, so those collection of fans build that atmosphere wherever they are, and most clubs have like a cop, or they have their respective
you have a little area,
which are the most vocal, for example, whereas at Wembley, whatever game you're going to get there, you're going to have a different crowd. It's not always going to be the same pocket of fans that so unfortunately you are going to get games where the atmosphere isn't as great as it should be, or you'd like it to be.
I think over the years, our away fans have caused a number of issues, as we know, and they're now much better policed and much better, and I mean policed by themselves more so than being policed by a force. And our behaviour, and let's hope it stays like that, has been very, very good. And the fan and the noise and the level is extraordinary. When you go to an away England game, it's fantastic, and it's just that at home sometimes you do get that quiet one. Gareth had enough of them. I've been there, so I know. I was there thinking, oh my God, this is like, is anybody going to sing here? But, that's just how it is sometimes. I've not got wrapped up in it personally. I was pleased with the performance. I see some sort of traits appearing in his team. And, there's players starting to make a few marks because obviously the World Cup really and truly is not far away. We're going to be, in 4 or 5 months' time, really kind of getting excited. I mean, at the moment, it's just that little bit too distant for it to be at the forefront of our minds with the Premier League just starting, etc., etc.
Yeah. But that being said, I think, look, the 3-0 victory was a dominant control, it was a comfortable win, we should say, for England, partly based on the fact that Wales were quite disappointing. Would you say? I think we expected more from Wales, didn't we? Or not? Oh, I can tell you didn't.
No, because, as I say, some of the international games and some of the international teams are just not very good. And that's the truth of it. And
but Wales haven't been bad under Craig Bellamy. We've seen improvement.
He's definitely an improvement. And I think he's done a great job there in stirring the pot that he has. But, you're a step up when you're playing England. And Craig will be the first to tell you that. And I think he more or less said that after, this was a bit of a lesson for us. And when you come up against a motivated top team, whether that's Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, when they're on it, they're very difficult to turn over. I mean, they do slip up now and again. And obviously we've had many slip-ups, but not recently, not in qualifying games. No, we've been very sound. And the level of, I would say, the England team has improved significantly under Gareth and now under Thomas.
Well, we'll talk more about England then and what we might well expect with this Latvia game coming up live on talkSPORT, of course, on Tuesday night with the World Cup on the horizon and England just a victory away from securing their place then in next year's finals. We'll also get Alan's World Cup squad, perhaps, or World Cup team. Your first 11, is that what you've come up with?
We talked about it, me and Madge talked about it on this final word before, and we were sort of coming up with about 3 or 4 names that we thought were nailed on. I actually think it's nice to sort of get my view of where it is now. Who's the lead runners in the positions? And then it's obviously going to change between now and the summer. But I think at the moment, I could name a team that I think, is our strongest at this moment in time.
All right. Well, we'll hear from you on that in just a moment. But as always, if you want to get in touch, please do. Why not join us here on The Final Word? Thank you very much for tuning into The Final Word this Sunday evening. You're in the company of Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer, and we are discussing England with them on Tuesday, heading to Latvia. Of course, they'll be there before that, but they'll be facing Latvia in their latest World Cup qualifier as they look to secure their place in next year's finals. And it's been a case of so far so good for Thomas Tuchel in qualifying as they lead the way. And a win will do to see them through then to next year's World Cup. 5 wins out of 5, as I say, all pretty emphatic. Thomas Tuchel not happy, though, with some of the fans and the lack of atmosphere at Wembley on Thursday when England beat Wales by 3-0. I suppose part of the problem as well, Alan, is the fact that it was all done within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you get all excited for it and then, it's done and dusted. And
or
then
you arrive late and missed all 3 goals.
Could you imagine?
Oh.
There might have been some in the hobnobbing it in Club Wembley, for example. Might have missed a fair few bit of it as well.
More actually coming out that tube station. Wow, they got to sort that out.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, it's worse going home, isn't it?
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
Still, lots of you been ringing in to have your say on the situation of England. So let's get to some of your calls. Mitchell.
Good.
Good evening. How are you?
Hey, I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're all right, thank you. So, what have you rung up to have a say about when it comes to England?
First of all, I brought Alan and his mates a drink in the white. Where is it? It was in Wardenham the other day. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's very kind of you. I do remember you. Yes. How are you doing?
Yeah. All good, thank you. I was just saying, I was just also thinking as well, if you're not going to, we haven't, how many camps we've got left to the actual thing itself?
Well, you'll have November, then you'll have March and June.
Yeah, the friendlies will be in June. Yeah. So about 4 or 5.
Would you want to take like your key players all the way through the camp so they get a gel with it? Because I'm a Palace fan, and I'm thinking Adam Walton in that team as well. Where is he going to fit in? Well, you got all these players going in now. Where's Adam going to fit in? I just think it's key against these teams that they play deep and Adam can just find a pass there and then. I don't want to be biased, but I do watch him every week.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get your views on it. That's okay?
Yeah, well, I think, Steve Parrish was obviously into the talkSPORT tower this morning, suggesting that Adam will definitely be a Champions League player. I thought he might have been suggesting with Palace, but he didn't actually make that clear.
Well, he did sort of say hopefully with Palace, but it could be with another club. Of course.
I think, Mitchell, you're right in terms of the quality of the player. I think everybody's been surprised, I think, in terms of the lack of attention he was getting until he got to Palace. And he's suddenly just gone like, well, this is my home, like this Premier League is a doddle. And he looks calm. He gets around the pitch. He has got a clever pass. He's a good midfield player, as Crystal Palace have had for a very, very long time. And I think he has got a great chance of making the squad. I think he needs a big year because there's some big names in front of him.
Well, this is
Rice,
what I was going to ask.
Bellingham,
That is the problem.
Rodgers,
The competition for places, Mitchell, is going to be the problem.
He is in the conversation. There is no doubt about that. And I think Mitchell's point about not, leaving these players out of the squad and even taking Bellingham, for example, to kind of get that integration going from camp to camp when you've only got 4 or 5 left is an important point. And I think he's right to bring it up.
There'll be a lot of. Look, so, as you say, so much can happen between now and when he has to pick his final squad.
And I remember, and you will, Natalie, as well. How many times have we watched England in that last 6-7 months before a major tournament and someone emerge?
Yeah.
From nowhere. Well, not say from nowhere, but like from, let's say, from a kind of outside position, suddenly find themselves very much part of the team. So, and Adam is definitely in that.
And there's also,
category.
I don't want to say it, I don't want to tempt fate, but there's also sometimes the dreaded curse of the metatarsal, because we had that a few times.
We have indeed injuries.
And unfortunately injuries can play the part as well. But yes, Adam Walton, obviously a terrific player for Crystal Palace, and no doubt will be on the radar for Thomas Tuchel. But the problem is there are just so many midfielders.
It's an area that that clever pass, that game that takes you from 0-0 to a 1-0 win, or you're 2-1 down and you need to find that pass, that killer pass for Harry Kane, for example, to get the equaliser, to get to get to extra time and to win it, or to win it on penalties. Those are the moments when someone like Adam Walton becomes essential. Cole Palmer, Jack Grealish, Jude Bellingham, all of which were not part of the team on Wednesday.
This is true.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a little bit of a headache, no doubt, for Thomas Tuchel. Let's get to Anis, is it? Who's also joining us this evening. So I hope I've said your name right.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good evening, sorry, Natalie and Alan. How are you? You're all right?
Very good.
We're very good, thank you.
Yeah, just a point about the England team and the England squad. The number 10 position is obviously causing a lot of debate at the moment. And obviously, Kane's going to be, hopefully, our number 9 for the tournament because he's the best English striker around. But I don't think there's any debate about. Obviously, he's captain as well. But with Kane dropping deep sometimes and playing, he likes to drop deep and get involved in the play, he needs runners beyond him, doesn't he? He needs the likes of Gordon on the left or Rashford on the left.
I absolutely agree with that point. Yeah.
Rodgers running past him.
Yeah.
When you play the likes of Bellingham And, Bellingham's a great player, don't get me wrong. Foden the same, Grealish the same. If you choose, or Palmer even, if you choose to play one of them in the number 10, it just condenses that space even more. And then the play gets too congested and we can't get out because Kane might stop. He's not that target man that will stretch play, which will leave room for the number 10 to operate in. He will drop deep and they will take the space of a Bellingham or a Palmer or a Foden in that position. So, you've got to pick the best team rather than the best individuals. And I think Morgan Rogers has taken his chance at the moment, and he provides that running ability beyond. He likes to take people on. He's a good dribbler. He's a good athlete. And I think he helps Kane be the best version of Kane. I think if you change Kane, then you take away a lot from his game.
Well, let me tell you, I think you should go and get yourself on a coaching course absolutely immediately, because I think your point is spot on. I mean, I have seen so many times, and I'll go back to Alan Shearer, when Alan Shearer was a number 9, later in his career after his cruise ship, when he was coming short a little bit, we had no one going beyond him. And Harry the same. Harry is and particularly at Munich, he's developed his game. He's not always running in behind, and we do need a runner. And I think there are times when we've played Palmer and we've played Bellingham in that role, and they've not done that. And particularly in the last championship that happened. So I'm all for Morgan Rogers at the moment in that number 10. And remember who his best pal is Jude Bellingham. Now, Jude Bellingham is going to be a starter for England at the World Cup. And for me, his natural position isn't a number 10. I think he is a number 8. I think he's that one back, and he's got great tenacity and great defensive ability to be able to play the number 8 and with Declan Rice. So that midfield for me is beginning to look very much like Rice, Bellingham, Rodgers. And then you've also got the option, of course, of changing Rodgers if it's not working with a Palmer or with a Grealish. So I think that is a real strength of the England team, that area. And as we say, we got Wharton, we got Anderson, another player who could bulldoze his way in the team between now. And you're a big fan, Natalie.
I love Elliot Anderson.
Yeah,
I think he's brilliant.
And Eddie Howe will tell you how much he loves him. Who
regrets
really,
they've had a few.
Well, they don't regret. It was just forced on them because of that horrible rule, which I definitely want to see outlawed. That Premier League rule of young players being pure profit on your PSR. So anyway, let's go back to the England team. I think that's a great call, and I totally agree. Was it? I couldn't pronounce his name.
Anis or Anissa,
Anis.
I wasn't sure which way it was, but appreciate the call nonetheless. And do you know what? What we'll do is we'll take a break, and when we return, we'll maybe get your final sort of 11 then that you think, as of right now, who would make Thomas Tuchel's 11, and is that the first England game of the World Cup, because we are expecting that they'll get the job done on Tuesday to seal their place. But if you want to get in touch, of course, we would love to hear from you. And by the way, this Monday on talkSPORT, how about this? Football icon Paul Gascoigne joins Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown live in the studio to discuss his new book. So that's from all of the FA Cup stories that he'll have, his triumph.
Can you imagine?
That's going to be electric.
Who's wrote the book? Because obviously, I don't think Gazza would have obviously put the input into it. Do we know the author?
Ghostwriter? I don't know, but we'll do some Googling and we'll find out. But obviously, there's so much for him to talk about with Spurs and obviously England, Rangers as well, and so much more.
Everybody's got a Gazza story, haven't they? I mean,
a lot of people do.
Like footballers, they do.
Yeah. Have you got one?
I have got a Gazza
Okay, why didn't you give it to us after the break if it's clean? I don't know. You're thinking about it.
Break time.
You can tell me in the break anyway. So don't miss out, because it's going to be brilliant. Paul Gascoigne then live with Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown tomorrow on talkSPORT. This is the final word. Thank you very much for joining us this Sunday evening, and it is Alan Pardew and me, Natalie Sawyer, taking you through until 9 this evening, and then you've got the Trans-Euro Express to look forward to. And we're talking England right now, who play Latvia on Tuesday live on talkSPORT as they look to secure their place at the World Cup. Don't forget, by the way, Scotland were 2-1 winners in their World Cup qualifier this afternoon as they go top of their group, albeit Denmark still have to play Greece this evening. But it's as difficult as it might have been at Hampden. It wasn't a straightforward victory. At the end of the day, it's another 3 points for Scotland as they try and book their place at the World Cup as well. And we were talking earlier about that Thursday friendly where England beat Wales by 3-0 and how Thomas Tuchel wasn't particularly happy with the atmosphere. I just wanted to read this this text that we had in WhatsApp, in fact, from Kev. From Newcastle. He says, someone needs to tell Thomas Tuchel that it is a different crowd for friendlies. The hardcore fans are saving their pennies for the World Cup, which is going to be mega expensive. And I mean, he's got a point. Yeah. That World Cup is not going to be cheap, considering how spread out it is going to be and the cost of living as it is anyway. So, yes, you're probably right there, Kev, that, you know, maybe that game on Thursday
but
was.
It will be accessible. I mean, that's the, obviously in the northern states in America there, you got all the transport and everything should be, and they're used to big tournaments. So I like to think that will all run pretty smoothly. But as you say, getting between cities will be difficult. Depends where we're based, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, they're not going to put one game in New York and another in LA. There will be more sense to it. But I don't know quite what happens when it gets to the knockout stages and how that's all going to work out. But it's still not going to be cheap. That being said, we want to know what Alan Pardew's starting 11 is going to be for that first England group game for next year. Because, we're not trying to be cocky, but we obviously assume after 5 wins out of 5 that England are going to make it.
I think it's good as well because it's obviously a day where we can look back a little bit on the Premier League and how it's sort of panned out and who's pulling up some trees. So I quickly put a team together that I think are in the number 1 position at the moment to be taken off them, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I've got Reece James right back, John Stones, Mark Gahey. I've got Miles Lewis-Skelly, who I think could end up left back. But he's going to need to play for Arsenal.
I was going to say, he's got a job in his hands at this moment.
Because Calafiori is doing very, very well. And set plays, he's a big part of the way they set up. So fingers crossed he gets in the team. But I think if he gets in the team, he could make the England team. Then you got Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice, 6 and 8, in the midfield. Morgan Rogers in the 10. Saka nailed on the right side. Harry Kane nailed on through the middle. And then on the left side of the midfield, here we go.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
I've got Anthony Gordon, Jack Grealish, Cole Palmer. Could he play off that side? Marcus Rashford. That is the one for me that really is up for grabs. And if I was Jack Grealish, I would look at that and go, I'm going to have a right good go at that. And I think that is where his mindset is, i.e. this form he's got for Everton. I think he's got the bit between his teeth thinking, not only can I do well here at Everton, but I've got a great chance playing for England.
So do you think he's unlucky to have missed out on this latest squad?
Well, I got Thomas's point in terms of, they've done well. And when you look at the 2 games, it wasn't particularly taxing.
Right.
Let Jack have another little period at his home club. He's obviously doing well. And maybe the next one will bring him in. But, I think the one in my team, the one that you want to put in is Palmer. He's the one player that might make a big difference from us. But I keep thinking of the lad at Liverpool, Wirtz, who went at Leverkusen, played on the left side and drifted in as a sort of a second number 10. And it was a real success. And if you got a left back running past him, it would be a nice option. But hey-yo. I just thought I'd throw it out there because I know a few callers be going, what is he talking about? He hasn't got a clue.
Yeah. I think you need to go back on a coaching course.
Yeah.
No, but that is interesting because that right-hand side, as you say, is really intriguing because there are a lot of options. You've got Saka, as you mentioned. Left-hand side. You've got Saka on the right. Madueke will probably...
Yeah, but they're not going to get in front of Saka.
No, absolutely not. But in terms of competition, there is
I think Reece James is under a bit of pressure. Livramento and, a couple of others could push him. But I like Reece James. I think he has leadership qualities that England are going to need. And I think he showed, particularly in the World Club Championship, even though he didn't start, his attitude was good. He come on the pitch. He changed the game in that final. I just like everything about him, and I think he needs to go and be in the team.
Okay, but let's look at that left
Yeah, that's the one
forward
that's
option
open.
that you were saying. Right now, who are you nailing your colours to the mast with?
Well, I think Marcus Rashford's got a great chance if he can still stay in the Barcelona team, deliver what we know he can deliver down that side. We got enough defensive qualities behind him to have that kind of, okay, his defensive work isn't like top level, but then teams who have won the World Cup have always carried somebody who's defensively hasn't been brilliant. Look at Messi, for example, and Zidane, not particularly brilliant defensive players. So there is a place there for somebody, and of course Marcus has that ability to score goals and get down the side and put left-footed crosses in, where Kyle Palmer wouldn't be doing that, and Jack Grealish wouldn't be doing that. They'll be doing it differently. Gordon's a different one. I think he has a chance because he's proven at Newcastle that he's a big game player, and he'll win penalties. He'll cause damage. I think he'll be going to the World Cup.
There are sort of players, and I'm just thinking now, and I know he's injured at the moment, so not necessarily in contention at all, but Lewis Hall, for example, at Newcastle, left back. Would you ever think of, as an international manager, sometimes pairing up teammates already? So you might have a Lewis Hall with an Anthony Gordon, or you might have an Elliot Anderson with a Morgan Gibbs-White, for example. And that's on midfield.
I think there is a case for that, and I think that's been proven across international sides before, that those relationships are key. To know exactly. Gary Neville and David Beckham would be an example of England, where you wouldn't say Gary Neville was like the perfect kind of foil for David Beckham, because he wasn't type that went bombing past him, which you think David Beckham might like. But they had a great understanding, and he could always find him, and he brought out the best in Beck. So, yeah, I am absolutely all for that. And I think Thomas, being a club manager, will look for those relationships. That's why I said about Morgan Rogers and Jude Bellingham, they're best buddies. And I think, firstly, Morgan would want Jude to play well, and Jude would want Morgan to play well. So they would kind of look after each other. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's even though they don't play together, there is a relationship there.
We've had a message in about Declan Rice. He's not a number 6. He plays as an 8.
Yes, he
Arsenal. Does. And that is true. But he's also one of those players that has, like any player, most players would say, he'll play wherever. If he's part of the team, he'll play wherever.
No, but I think he is, Arsenal are fortunate that they can have a player that can play in that position. But I think for England, he's our best at that. And, of course, the other major attribute that he delivers for any team is his set play delivery is just off the scale. He's so accurate. He is absolutely nailed on in my team wherever he plays.
I mean, I don't think there's anyone that would question Declan Rice. He'd have to be in that first 11. You imagine. It's just as you say. Does he play as the 6 or does he play as the 8? Now, obviously, Elliot Anderson has been a part of this team, who I love.
Yes,
he's absolutely fantastic, and he has talked about that the sort of blossoming partnership that he's had in midfield with Declan Rice, and sort of saying, look, the fact I can sit back and allow him to go forward as an 8 only benefits England, and he's also learning as well. And he also actually mentioned one of the key players that has helped him a lot is being Jordan Henderson, and that's probably why, in a way, Thomas Tuchel is involved Jordan Henderson.
Well,
in
don't
squads.
tell that to Jordan, because he definitely won't believe that. I think he has got a role in the team, but I think his role comes later on in the game.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying he's just there to be a cheerleader. He wants to play.
No, but he actually commented on this week. That's why I brought it up.
Okay.
He's like, I don't think I'm here for the cheerleader.
No.
But he will give massive, valuable support in terms of off-pitch activities. But also, when you're seeing games out, or you need to chase a game, like Jordan Henderson's passing from deep is off the scale, and he started. He's still doing that at Brentford, obviously. So, Yeah, I've got no qualms about him being.
So that makes sense to you if you have someone like a Jordan Henderson
Yeah.
in there. It's interesting. I'm trying to think of the other options. What about Trent? Not having him as a right back option.
No, I don't have him as a right back, but I'd have Trent in the squad for sure, definitely. And again, one of those one of the beauties that Thomas has got. Like, forget what 11 he picks on that bench. He's going to have some major armoury, and sometimes as a manager, that can harm you just as much as kind of raise you. It can get you out of trouble, but also it can put indecision in your mind. If someone's not quite at it for 65 minutes, like Cole Palmer, you could take him off. Do you know what I mean? And it might be we see in the club championship final. When Cole Palmer looked quiet, didn't he, for 60 minutes? And then suddenly, bang, bang, and the game was won. So, it's going to be, it's a nice problem, but it's a problem also having such quality on the bench.
Just a final word in general on England. Is the defence the biggest issue in terms of options?
Well, I'm glad to see Stones back and fit, and I hope he has a full season at Man City, and of course, John Stones will be hoping that as well. He's obviously gone in the press talking about how difficult it's been with this injury run that he's on. The Gahey one is an absolute nailed-on left side centre-back. There's no one going to touch him if he stays fit in terms of the way he carries himself as a person and his ability. So, it's just about that right-sided centre-back, who that's going to be. Personally, at this time, the way he's looking, I think it'll be Stones. I hope so.
Well, we want to hear from you if you agree with that sort of 11 that Alan has gone for. Just to reiterate, it's Pickford, obviously, with a back four with James, Stones, Gahey and Lewis Skelly. Then a midfield of Bellingham and Rice. Rodgers is that sort of number 10 role. Saka and who was it we said?
Yeah, Harry Kane through the middle. And I'm going to go, I'll stick my neck out and say Cole Palmer coming off the left.
Palmer. There you go, off the left. Goodness me. Does that work for you? Why not let us know this evening? 03717 223344. That's the number to call us on. That is also the WhatsApp number. You can also text us to 81089. And who have we missed? Who have we not discussed? Because I'm probably sure there's a fair few we've overlooked.
Absolutely.
Please do highlight it for us here on The Final Word on talkSPORT. This is talkSPORT. This is the final word, and it is Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you as we take you through until 9 this evening. We're talking England right now, and Alan has given us his starting 11 for the World Cup.
At this time.
At this present time, based on form. Yes, exactly. Yeah. That is very, very important. So we're just going to nail it once more. Obviously, Pickford in goal. Then it's a back four of James, Stones, Gahey and Lewis Skelly. Bellingham and Rice are the midfielders with Rodgers ahead of them. Then you've got Saka. Who did you say? Oh, Palmer. Cole Palmer. Controversially on the left-hand side with, of course, Harry Kane up front. And we were sort of suggesting there may be more options on the left than perhaps on the right. But maybe Dan has come in with a call this evening to highlight someone that we forgot to mention. Dan, put us right. Hello, good evening, Dan.
Good evening, how you doing?
Yeah, we're all right. Go on, tell us who we missed out on.
Oh, I'm a little bit disappointed in you.
Sorry, Dan. Go on, mate. Who is it?
Let him have it.
On the right-hand side, but how are you forgetting Jared Bowen?
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of his, by the way.
I don't think there's any competition. I think, obviously, Madueke, brilliant player, youngster, fantastic. I don't think there's any competition between him and Bowen. I think if you want to score goals and you want to get assists and you really want to,
And let's be honest, we know he delivers in the big moments, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the final.
He always does.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I think, obviously, he slept on a little bit. He's not had a lot of minutes under Tuchel. He's got 20 minutes here and there. It's not good enough, really. And obviously, listen, I'm not saying he should be starting. You got Saka there, and I don't think you can argue with that. But Jared Bowen, he's got to be. Listen,
the number two, you think? Yeah.
Jared Bowen's got to be there.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, Dan. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And this just goes to show you the quality that he has under his stewardship, Thomas. We have such depth in terms of quality. It's about finding that balance, and I think when you listen to him, that's what he keeps talking about, doesn't he? Tuchel, the balance of the team, and I want to make sure it's a team and not individuals, etc., etc. And I mean, Bowen would fit into that. He's a real team player. He gives everything for the team. He's not an individualist, like kind of looking out for himself. So, yeah, I mean, Dan's got a very good point there, and I think he will be in the squad as well.
Okay, Dan, thank you very much for your call. Jared Bowen.
West Ham, calls Hammer.
West Ham.
Iron, super irons.
We completely overlooked Jared Bowen, but you were absolutely right to highlight him as well. Again, if we've done that with any other players, please let us know, because there is quite a few players that we would have missed who perhaps deserves at least a
surprised someone
shout
come
out.
on about the goalkeeper.
Other
do you think
goalkeeping
Pickford's
options.
nailed on? Is he nailed on?
I mean, I do personally, but I know many others would disagree in a
His
sense.
stats are off the chart, particularly, aren't they?
I just don't think he really puts a foot wrong for England in the main, and I just.
Yeah.
But there will be some that might argue Nick Pope or Dean Henderson or even
Dean Henderson's had a great start.
Yeah, exactly. So I do understand it, but I think that's one of those, for me anyway, at this current moment, is nailed on. I can't see anyone I can't see anyone other than Pickford in goal for England. That being said, very quickly, Declan Rice obviously was captain on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I forget who it was, but I did hear someone in midweek saying that they thought maybe they should free up the shackles with Harry Kane and take the captaincy off him. I say take it off, but give it to someone else. Do you think that's something that is a possibility? I say shackles. It's not really a shackle because he's done all right, hasn't he, Harry Kane? But
yeah, he's in tremendous form and he's playing brilliantly and without a doubt, the best striker, I would probably say, in the world at number 9 position at the current moment. So that's brilliant. I don't think the captaincy is a massive issue for Harry Kane. Don't see that. But I would be comfortable for it to move to Rice. I don't see any issue there either.
Okay. Do get in touch because it'd be great to hear from you and your thoughts on everything that we have discussed here as well. But one thing I should say with Jared Bowen, and you were right to point out that goal, obviously, in the Conference League final. What I loved about that goal, Alan, was the fact that he had so much time on his hands when he was running down and bearing down on goal. It's quite easy. You always hear about perhaps players having too much time to think about what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And he had that. And he still slotted it away nicely.
No, I mean, there's moments where if you're a West Ham fan, you'll know he's dug that team out of some big holes in the Premier League, let alone the that Conference League final. In the Premier League, he's dug deep to try and lift what has been a very disappointing West Ham team over the last sort of 18 months in the Premier League campaigns. They want better there, but they certainly wouldn't replace him. He's like nailed on.
I've just seen a name that we haven't mentioned.
Go on. A contender.
Eze.
Oh, well, Eze, of course. Now, I haven't forgot about Eze, but I don't see him in that starting 11 at the moment, not unless he really pulls up some trees. And that's what I'm saying, that this team at the moment is the team. Mm-hmm. But Eze definitely could cause an argument as the season goes on where he says he's got to be in the team. I mean, he produces some wonderful moments like Carl Palmer does, and it would be nice to see him doing that for Arsenal in big games, and then the conversation might change.
As I say, lots of you getting in touch. David Belgrave mentioned Eze as an option in the England team too. This one says you're missing out on Ezri Konsa, best centre-half in the Premier League at the moment, he says. Skippy, the Villa fan.
Yeah, I think the centre-half position is not one that is completely nailed on. The only one I would say is definitely is Gahey, but that other side, there is question marks, and as I say, there's 2 or 3 options on that side.
Okay. Lots more to come on this, no doubt, because it is getting you talking, certainly on the messages and on the calls as well. But after the break, we are going to turn our attentions to the grassroots football. In this international break, your chance to flag up the good of your local sides, and a lot of you have done that already. So stay with us here on The Final Word.
Formula One. It's a sport often seen as insular and elitist, but it's seen a meteoric rise under its owners Liberty Media, not only in popularity and viewership, but in the ability to almost print money. From greater access to more races, here's how it happened. For decades, Formula One was owned and run by one man, Bernie Ecclestone. He was old school, someone who thought the sport itself was enough, and there was no need for all this modern marketing and social media nonsense. But in 2016, Ecclestone agreed to sell his baby to American group Liberty Media. It cost Liberty Media $4.4 billion, and they quickly got to work. We got an F1 app almost immediately, and teams were allowed to show us more from behind the scenes. One of Liberty's most important deals was with Netflix, which in 2019 brought us Drive to Survive. The effect? An almost 70% rise in viewership for races in the US alone. It's massively benefited Formula One online too, with a rise from 7.8 million followers across its social media platforms in 2016 to around 50 million today. New eyes are on the sport too, with F1's own subscription TV channel, which people can watch anywhere in the world. But the main market they've tapped into is the US. There's now 3 races there a year, in Texas, Miami and Las Vegas, and an American-branded team, Cadillac, getting involved in the sport too. More races seems to be the direction of travel. A street circuit in Madrid's being welcomed onto the calendar, while conversations around a Grand Prix in Africa have ramped up in the last few years. More big events could be in the offing too, after the massive F1 75 season launch event in London in 2025. 7.5 million people tuned in to watch it live across the social media channels, and that doesn't include the viewing figures for where it was broadcast on TV in certain countries. It seems Liberty will do whatever they can to grow the F1 brand. Their efforts have been worthwhile too, with Forbes valuing the sport at $17.1 billion back in 2023, almost 4 times more than what they bought it for in 2016. Not bad, considering it's seen as a sport where people just drive around in circles.
Good evening, this is The Final Word, and I'm Natalie Sawyer, and alongside me this Sunday it is Alan Pardew. Delighted to have your company. Thank you very much. Loads of you got in touch with regards to England, and especially with regards to Alan's first 11, that he, on current form, based on the current Premier League situation, who he would, I say Premier League, football
I like
season.
the emphasis you put on that, Nat. Well done. Made that very,
just
very
to argue that, it could all change come June.
Yeah.
But loads of you got in touch with players that we might have missed out on. Trevor Chalobah, Wardy has mentioned, for example, is a name that we didn't mention in the centre-back conversation. Wardy says also Cole Palmer is not controversial at all. On his day, he walks into the squad. No, he's not controversial. He was controversial in terms of where Alan wanted to play,
Correct.
which is on the left-hand side. But certainly not controversial to have him in the team, that is for sure. But we are going to move on. 25 million, by the way.
Yeah,
not bad with a little Euro.
I actually heard that.
Millions win.
Can you imagine? Wow, you've won 25 million. That phone call, that must be amazing. And then I was thinking, well, what does that buy you, in terms of a football club? Yeah, probably buy you a second division club, I don't think you can get a first division club for 25 million these days.
I wouldn't. No, absolutely not. No.
So, it's not, but obviously in the scheme of things, 25 million is bloody lovely. Well done to them.
I would just love that feeling, that moment of, I can't believe I've won.
It's amazing
I can't envision that.
It's amazing how many friends you have who actually go, if I won the lottery, this is what I'd do. They've got it all scheduled out, haven't they? They've even got the payment schedule.
Oh, I've got it all sorted.
I
know exactly what I would do with all the money and who I would look after and all that sort of stuff. And there are days where I do it and I think, I know I'm going to win. And then no, I don't win. So I'm still here. But yeah.
Could be worse places.
No, I know. I love it. We love what we do. We're very fortunate in what we do. That is for sure. Before we get into Crystal Palace, because Steve Parish, the Palace chairman, was on the Sunday edition earlier today, and he gave us a number of interesting little gems, shall we say, in terms of the future with Oliver Glasner and Adam Wharton's future as well at Palace, and also talking about not playing in the Europa League now that they're in the Conference League, being relegated to that by UEFA. There was lots and lots of things that he brought us here on talkSPORT. But before we get to that, Alan, this is your chance to help me out, because I'm told there's always a quiz that you like to play on the final word.
Famous quiz.
The most popular quiz. The final word.
You don't know. You can't possibly imagine how successful this has been. This is almost award-winning territory.
I'm sure it's only a matter of time before the big broadcasters, in terms of the TVs, they're going to get
1% Club and all that. Forget that. This is the one.
By the way, I do like the 1% Club.
Yeah, I played it last night.
Me too. Did you win? I won the 1%.
No.
I did.
Really?
I did.
Well, I didn't see the 1% question, but I usually get it. Well, I just don't understand it, actually.
There are a lot that I don't get.
Yeah.
I did get
I got a few last night, but yeah, it's a great game. I enjoy that. Very good.
So clever.
Very
But yes, this is the Mystery Footballer Song Quiz, where we will play you 3 songs in total, which hopefully will guide you to the player. Remember, it can be the clubs that particular player played for. Maybe it's a squad number. Maybe it's a nickname, physical feature, whatever. Country associations, all sorts of things like that.
Yeah, they did something.
Yes.
You got to think outside the box.
So it is a bit 1%. You got to think all sorts of different directions. If you want to get involved, and we'll reveal the answer later on in the show, of course. But if you want to get involved and give us your answers, then you can do so by texting us to 81089 or WhatsApping us to 03717 22 33 44. So,
can I just a little footnote to this, right?
Please do.
We have had people get this right after one song, right, without even giving the clue. This is true, but I guarantee today they won't get it.
Really?
After a fun song. No chance.
And this is your pick, isn't it? This player.
Oh yeah, I've tried to take it up a level, because Ross, our producer, I think he's on holidays with his kids this week. He's having a great time, but I'm actually trying to raise it from the depths that it usually is in. Yeah.
The depths that you've plundered to.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're coming back up. So, DJ Kitch, let's hear that first song. Beautiful.
An underrated Queen song, actually.
Great song.
Although this might be Freddie Mercury. It might not be Queen. Is it Freddie Mercury?
I think it was Freddie Mercury was it Maria Callas?
Yeah, but I don't think it was Queen.
Yes, no, I think you might be right.
On this independent
solo
great
thing,
song.
yes. Okay, now do you give any hints off the back, or is that it? Just to check. No?
At this stage, I'm giving no clues other than that song.
Okay. So think about the sort of ideas we've already given you, perhaps, as to where you could take this.
Yeah, you ain't got to say too much on that. The regulars will know.
They know. They know. The regulars.
They're all up.
Okay, well, that is a cracking song and a cracking first one to bring you. 2 more to come then, and hopefully someone will get it. But it's not that easy either. Anyway, let's move on, shall we, to Crystal Palace. As we mentioned, their chairman, Steve Parish, joined the Sunday edition this morning and discussed the FA Cup final whistle moment and how the Community Shield win was also icing on the cake. It's fair to say it's been a pretty decent start for Crystal Palace this season, and life under Oliver Glasner also has been pretty special too. Speaking of Oliver Glasner, he is out of contract at the end of this season, but Parish has revealed there have been early contract talks.
I think Oliver's a brilliant guy. I think he's a sensational manager, and his opinion is extremely important to the football club, and what he thinks is something that we take very seriously. Certainly I take very seriously. And, will we look back on things and adapt what we do? Absolutely, in future. Yeah, we've had some early conversations. I mean, look, we would love to keep Oliver. We're building something. I think for Oliver, it's about the conditions being right. It's about everything being in a way that he enjoys his work. And he finds the conditions favourable to achieve. Oliver wants to win things. He makes no secret of that. That's what he's in football for. He's in football for those days where we give all that pleasure to the fans, and we do as well. So if we can align those interests, then hopefully we can make something happen.
Okay, so that's what Steve Parish had to say on the situation of Glasner's contract. I mean, it's imperative they sign him up to a new deal, isn't it? They can't be walking into the summer not knowing what's happening with him.
Well, firstly, when he says conversations have started, I'm guessing he sort of said we need to talk about your contract at some stage. That's probably
it. That's what it means.
Probably what it means, because the manager at the moment, I'm guessing, I've been in that position a couple of times in my career when you're going really, really well. It's a difficult one because you're kind of like, well, how bad do you want me? That will be the conversation. How much you really want me to stay. And of course, in this case, it will be the maximum that they can offer him to try and make him stay, because his record is incredible so far. He's lost 20 games. He's lost one. So he's on this tremendous run. Steve Parish, by the way, has had Patrick Vieira, Roy Hodgson, Sam Allardyce, the great Alan Pardew, Neil Warnock, Tony Pulis.
Sorry, who was that? Alan who?
Sorry, I threw that in. It was a little...
No, I like it. It's good.
Although I am still the only manager who's finished. I'm the highest position finisher in the Premier League, in 10th. So Oliver has to beat that this year, which I'm pretty sure he will. Anyway, the agent, whoever his agent is obviously, absolutely sitting pretty and waiting for Steve to come and buy him a very expensive lunch and have a conversation. You got to say that the guy has put himself in the position of strength. And of course, when you're in a contract negotiation, it's the position of strength that's important. And he'll be courted by top clubs. And don't think that his agent wouldn't have been contacted perhaps already by a big European club to say, look, we would be very interested if Oliver was come available. That conversation would happen too. So it's one of those. But on the plus side for Steve, I think Oliver's finding the environment perfect. Obviously they're on a great run. He might feel that he's building something there, and that his home life in terms of his family is settled, and that everything's going the right way, and let's just do a new deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what Steve will really be hoping for.
There was a period, wasn't there, in the summer where he wasn't, I'm talking Glasner here, wasn't happy with the transfer activity, and he made that quite known.
Yeah, but all managers are like that, particularly in that summer window when you want to get things over the line. But one of the problems you have at clubs, and I call them second tier Premier League clubs, and I include West Ham in that, and Aston Villa and Newcastle, fans would probably hate me saying that, but when them big guns, the big top Man City, Liverpools and all that done their business, that's when your business starts kicking in. And then, of course, if you're below that, if you're, let's say, you're Bournemouth in that third tier, and maybe Brighton Palace, you could argue kind of which tier you're in, depending on what particular year. But you're obviously waiting for everything to fall so that something falls your way or a door opens for you. They were waiting for the signings to happen. Maybe their agents were open for perhaps better clubs than Palace. In the end, I think they got what they wanted, and they've done extremely well. And long may that continue, because obviously I'm a big fan of Crystal Palace.
What's impressed you of the Glasner Palace then?
Well, what's impressed me most about what he's done there, firstly, is recruitment. It's the number one source of success at any football club, particularly the Premier League. Their recruitment has been spot on, and he's obviously guided them to a couple of key players. The right back, the centre back, both come via Oliver's recommendations. I'm absolutely sure of that. And he's got the system that he wants, players who can really play the system. And he was lucky in some respects that they had a player like Mitchell already in the camp who could play left wing back. So he got himself a right wing back. And so now he's got 2 motors up and down the sides, which is in that system a real plus. The discipline of the team, the motivation, the drive that he has every week to turn out a team. That one of the problems with Palace is usually players, you you can do great for sort of 6, 7, 8 games, and then we lost. Oh, okay, well, we done great. Where he's sort of bypassed that, gone a bit further, and winning trophies is part of that.
Yeah, and one of the key things as well that he's done in terms of development is Jean-Philippe Mateta. Because I remember seeing Mateta when Roy Hodgson was in charge, and I remember thinking, he looks lost. He doesn't even know what he's... It didn't feel like he knew what he was doing, unfortunately.
But with all due respect to Roy Hodgson, who was ex-England manager, by the way, I don't think that was down to Roy's management of him or Oliver's management of him. He is one of those players who blows hot and cold, by the way, and he still does. But I get your point. He's much more consistent now.
Yeah.
He is developed, I think. He's learned from the Premier League. So I think sometimes players take longer to adjust, particularly strikers, because it's a unique position. Strikers and centre-backs always take time to settle a little bit more so than other players. Put a midfield player in, and they can adapt quite quickly. Number 10s is a bit difficult, but number 9s is in particular a difficult scenario because, and particularly at a team at Palace, when you can have 10 players behind the ball and you're the only player, and you've got to be clever enough to buy a free kick to ease the pressure on your team, or get hold of possession so you can get a breakaway or a fast transition. So, but I take your point, and I think he is an improver of players, and I would definitely put him in that list. But I do think that particular player has also benefited from actually gaining some experience and having some hardship.
And I get that.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't a slight on Roy Hodgson.
No, of course. I know
it feels as though you've seen something more from Mateta in the last couple of seasons.
I think when you look at a manager, you have to say the motivation, not just of the team, but the individuals, is it there? Is it there for 90 minutes? And when you look at his teams, wow, they really put an effort in.
Yeah.
And he's one of the few Premier League managers who gets let's call it a turn, like an old theatre remark. He gets a turn out of his players.
Yeah. Very true, very true. But how great also that Steve Parish was on talkSPORT earlier and being so candid and open and honest about everything at Crystal Palace. Certainly great to hear from him. Right, on the way next, we will discuss Alan's top 5 summer signings now.
Will we?
Yeah, I think
better
so.
write them down.
I think you need to think about that one for us, if you wouldn't mind. Because I think, we're kind of into the season now. A lot of players getting up to speed, especially the new ones into England and playing in the Premier League for the first time. So we'll get Alan's take on that in just a few minutes here on The Final Word. games are being played here on The Final Word. It is Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you right now. The question is, why are we playing this one?
Is this the second song?
This is the second song.
I didn't even know it was coming.
There we go.
Heat with somebody.
Oh my gosh, it's karaoke time with Alan Pardew.
Yeah. This might have something to do with the year.
The year the song came out. Is that what you're referring to?
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
Or this,
Okay. All right. That's a little clue there. We have had some guesses, and I'm going to quickly read out a few. But no one. Well, I don't even know. Actually, now I say that. We've had Marcus Rashford.
No.
Not Marcus Rashford. Gary Lineker.
No.
Okay. No. Tino Asprilla is another option.
Oh, good shout. No.
Oh. And my last one, this is Scott.
Oh, we've got more.
I just want to read this one out. Scott the Gooner, Bobby Robson.
Bobby. Love him to death. No, it's not Bobby.
Not Bobby. So the Barcelona one, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, well, of course, that's a bit,
sense.
it makes a little bit of sense to go around there.
Okay. Brilliant. Keep your ideas coming into us then. So you've had that Barcelona one and you've just had that Whitney Houston song.
Can I give an extra clue at this stage after the second song?
I think that might be helpful.
Yeah. Actually, the player that we're talking about has a very, very tiny connection to the presenters who are here today. There you go.
Okay. Now, there'll be a lot of people probably still going, huh?
Yeah.
What does that mean? But there you go. Right. One more song to come, and then there'll be the big reveal a little bit later on. We've got time to talk about your top 5 summer transfers so far, now that we are well into this Premier League season. And don't forget, the astronomical sums of money that was spent in this summer window. Premier League clubs splashed a record-shattering £3.19 billion. Goodness me. Soaring past the previous best of 2.46, and that was back in 2023. So bear in mind, a lot of players moving around, a lot of players coming to the Premier League for the first time. It's only right that you give us your assessment, Alan, on who makes your top 5. Is this in order in terms of number 1 is your favourite so far?
I don't think you can do that. But what I would say is that one of the teams that when I look at transfer windows, you have to look at the success of a club. And when you look at the league table at the moment, and when I look at Bournemouth's business, I have to say, wow, how have they got that window to be back up there after selling literally 3 of their back 4?
Absolutely. It's brilliant work by Iriola and the
It's
team.
outstanding. Having said that, I haven't seen enough of Bournemouth to warrant one of those players being in my top 5.
Okay.
So that is something that if there's a Bournemouth fan out there who's come in and absolutely ripped it up for you guys, let us know.
Okay, so there's an asterisk then, just on that, because we're not.
Yeah, because I would actually say at the moment, Bournemouth are my number 1 club, and that is a shout when you bear in mind Liverpool's business, etc., how much money they've spent.
Yeah, I like that.
Anyway, the player, I've got 5 names here that I think are going to be very kind of significant. All right, so I've gone the top end. I'm not gone like players who I think might do well. I'm talking about players who I think might win trophies.
Okay.
Who have not been here before, right?
I like that.
So I've gone for Rinders, the
Man City midfielder.
The Man City midfielder who has done 3 or 4 things. I've not seen him live yet, but he's done 3 or 4 things on the TV highlights that I've seen in and around the studio that have made me go, wow. Like,
what's he done?
Just little kind of actions.
Okay.
Like a little kind of periods of play where he's just danced through a couple or dropped his body and everybody's gone one way and he's gone the other. Just little moments that have made me go, oh, that's a little bit different. So I'm going to go for him. And much to Man United fans who were really trying to, get the ump to, I've got another Man City player.
Oh.
And that's the goalkeeper, because I still think if you're going to win the Premier League, you need to have a top goalie. And they have got the best in the world with perhaps the exception of the Aston Villa manager, goalkeeper Martinez, Donnarumma. So he's my second choice. My third is a player that I see a lot of prior to him going to Germany in a big move. When all the Premier League big boys wanted him, he went to Munich. Paulinho, who's come back to Spurs.
Ah, yes.
And I think he's going to be significant for them. Outside of Thomas Frank, that's the best move Spurs have made for a long, long time. So put them two together and you might be a trophy-winning team this year. And certainly Madge, who's in Ibiza, will be getting very excited if he's listening to this. I've also gone for the big fella in the northeast.
Okay, Voltemada.
Voltemada, right?
Really? Now what do you like
there's
about
just
him?
something about him, the way he's interacted with the fans up there. I know what they're like. When they grab a personality, they're all in. There's no like half measures with the Geordies, right? And I think they're having him. And obviously he's got a couple of goals, the penalty where he smashes it in the top corner the last week of the Premier League, last week, which seems like a lifetime ago, by the way.
It does.
I think he's going to be significant for them. And on another show, not on this show, I kind of said Newcastle, I think, have got a chance of winning the league. And the reason I say that is because the team that they had last year with this guy, and actually the top teams maybe beating each other a little bit more,
right,
might give them an outside chance of getting in there. So there you go.
I mean, they do have a great midfield, don't they?
Put one line under that one.
Okay.
And my last choice, I was going to go for Cunha because although he's injured and hasn't really done much yet, but I'm going to change that and go for Gyökeres because,
okay.
Yeah, if Arsenal win the league, he needs to be the man. And I've always liked him. And although he hasn't had a start where you would go, he's definitely
I was going to say, yeah,
be the man. I think over the season, he's going to get those 20 goals, maybe 25, which
Premier League goals?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say Premier League goals, but I mean,
across the
board. I think he could get 25 goals in all competitions. And if he does that, they got a great chance of winning it.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I think a lot of people are thinking.
Who would your five be? Have you got a five?
Well, there's a few names I'm thinking that you haven't mentioned, like Ekitike. I mean, he's got off to a brilliant start, but you're sort of, you've now mentioned it's about who's going to win something. And I'm not saying Ekitike and Liverpool aren't going to win something because they're Liverpool after all.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he's just got off to an incredible start. And although we know that he can play in different roles for Liverpool, so we might eventually see him playing with Isak as well.
Yeah.
I think
I must admit, I really like him, and I like the noises coming out. I mean, Virtu's had a terrible start. Yeah. I see enough of him at Leverkusen to know that boy is definitely, between now and Christmas, will find his feet somewhere because he's that good. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops. And, of course, Jack. We haven't mentioned
Jack Grealish. Absolutely.
Who
what a season
been sitting in the stand mostly at Manchester City, not even on the bench. Now got a stage where the fans love him and the manager's all up for him and the confidence oozing out of him. So much so that when he won player of the game at Crystal Palace last week, he said, "No, it weren't me. It was the Walton, the Palace boy," which was a lovely moment.
That is lovely, yeah, absolutely.
So we're all, we're big fans of Jack on here. So I should have perhaps put him in somewhere.
Well, yeah, but it's tough. We're asking, 5. That's what we limited you to. So, but maybe, honourable mentions to Grealish.
Yeah.
And as I say, I think Ekitike is
dispatches.
Very, very well.
Like in the old days in the war, they were mentioning dispatches. Jack Grealish. There you go.
I'll tell you what, that is better than your Scotland, your Scottish and German accent that you were doing for me in the break when we were talking about other things. By the way, just quickly before we hit the break, Denmark are doing pretty well against Greece.
Are they?
3-0 up as they approach half-time.
Not the big men. Who scored?
Højlund, Anderson and Damsgaard.
He can't stop scoring, Højlund, can he?
No. It just goes to show sometimes it might be the league or it might just be the club that's just not right for you and you just need to move somewhere else. But yes, there you go. Right, after the break, we will bring you our final clue as to the mystery football player on the final word quiz. So stay tuned for that. again, we've had some guesses. I'll bring you those guesses after, and then we'll, not long after that, reveal who it is.
These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
This is the final word. Thank you very much for joining us. It's Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you, and we're taking you through until 9. This then, the final clue for our mystery footballer quiz, the famous footballer quiz on the final word. So, do we want to just reflect a little bit more on this one?
Okay. Well, the first song, right, let's just rewind, right? So we give people a little bit more of a chance.
Yes.
Was Barcelona, right?
Okay.
That was the clue, and that was the song, quite quick. The second one was Whitney Houston,
yes,
right? Which was perhaps this particular player's most famous year, right?
That's it, famous year.
And that he was linked. It was linked to a World Cup, right? That song.
Okay.
And this song is when this particular player was born. This song was number 1.
Okay.
There you
okay. So that's you've given a few pointers there.
I have.
Quite like that.
I'm trying to walk it in for him. But there's still a link. There's still there is a reason why his name is up for grabs tonight, right?
Okay.
Which I'm going to explain later. You don't probably know but
yes.
I will tell you.
All right. We look forward to that. It'll all become clearer, but those were the hints. Get the hints and you might find out who this one is. But we've had a couple of more shouts. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank is a name that's featured a couple of times, but no, not Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Okay. All right. Keep them coming into us. You haven't got long because we will reveal in the final.
We've never had a quiz of this and no one get it, right? So
Oh.
So when we get to the last sort of 10 minutes, I might throw another clue in.
You're going to have to. We'll have a klaxon alert.
We'll have to see.
Especially if we've just had someone suggest Terry Venables.
Ah, no, good shout, but no.
Oh. It's just, I love that.
Manager of Barcelona with Alan Harris, who managed with me at Reading. What a great man he was, Alan Harris. When you talk about someone who can spin a story, Alan Harris. Good story.
Really?
Yeah, to all his family, bless and love him. He's gone now, but what a great man.
He's a good storyteller. You don't have, well, do you know what the funny thing is? You think about football today and when you were playing and even before all the generations before that, I don't know, do you think we'll get storytellers in the future? Do you know what I mean? Like the real... Because do you not sort of think that the personalities are not there as... There are a few, don't get me wrong, there are a few. You know, James Maddison, we know, Jack Grealish likewise. But I worry about the sanitisation of it all.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And then there's that instant, like, distraction of the phone.
Yeah.
Like, you know, mid kind of story. Which I've seen people read stories and then they're looking at their phone and they're sort of half in the story, not in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great art and attribute to be able to work the Queen's language, the King's language now, I should say, in such a way that it entertains and enthralls people. It's something the British are particularly good at. And if you put a bit of cynicism in there as well, it all, you know, can tally up to be a good story. And Alan Harris is very good at all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we talk about the return of the Premier League?
Yes, let's do that.
Now,
some big games, you know.
There are some big games, and I'm just trying to find... There it is. There's my piece of paper that's got all the fixtures that we've got to look forward to. And I suppose the big one really is that one at Anfield on Sunday, which a week today sees Liverpool take on Manchester United. I suppose just a word on Liverpool, and you mentioned it earlier on, you know, 3 losses in a row in all competitions. It's a sort of, in a way, a baffling time in that sense, because it's all been so great under Arne Slot. And I know this season a lot of people, and I've been part of the conversation on other shows here on talkSPORT talking about that Liverpool been winning games, but not convincingly. They haven't really clicked, it felt.
They haven't really played one great game yet, I don't think. But, you know, he has made a lot of changes, or they have made a lot of changes. They've got a great talent in and around the team. It is going to be a question mark getting the balance right. I think changing the 2 fullbacks, and Andy Robertson, who's been absolutely brilliant this week for Scotland, has been an issue. I think they've not looked as good at the back. Mo obviously hasn't hit the height since he signed the new contract, although I do feel that this game could be the Salah isn't that bad, he's back to his best. One of those games.
Okay, yes.
Because he's that type of player.
All will be forgotten.
Yeah, I can't see. He got, you know, he had a game where, his defensive work was poor, but, you know, his defensive work is sound usually, and I think he had one of those days, and I think he'll come roaring back. I think Liverpool will win that game, but it'll be a great game to watch. I'm looking forward to it.
It all, though, starts with our game day lunchtime exclusive on Saturday with Chelsea heading to the City Ground and Nottingham Forest. Oh, and Postecoglou, what is it, 7 games in now, yet to win as the Forest boss. And I was at the Europa League game where they lost at home to FC Midtjylland.
was you?
Yeah, for talkSPORT, I was there. And I could not believe, obviously, when Midtjylland scored their 3rd goal, the toxicity around where I was. Now, obviously, I can't say that for every stand because I wasn't there, but just where I was sat, I could not believe some of the fans, how quickly they went for Ange.
Really?
There was a guy I remember to my right standing up with his finger pointing at Ange and you're getting sacked in the morning. And he was one of a number that were doing that. And also the fact that they were also singing Nuno's name, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a hard position to be in as a manager. Only 7 games in.
Well, you're talking to a manager who's been in that position on a couple of occasions, so I know how uncomfortable that can get.
So how do you deal with it?
Well, the only way you can deal with it is the steeliness that you've kind of created in your makeup through your playing and football and coaching careers has steeled you for that moment. And if it hasn't, then you shouldn't be in the job. You know, that is part and parcel of being a football manager, let alone in the Premier League. I mean, the one uncomfortable thing, which when I look at this game, there's one thing that stands out for me. It's 12:30 game, which means it's a live game before everybody else kicks off, right? So our friends at Sky, I think it's a Sky game, 12:30. It might be TNT, but it doesn't matter.
TNT, yeah.
TNT, right? What they're going to do is, if Ange is losing, that camera will be stuck firmly on Marinakis, sitting up in that director's box, and any kind of negativity. I remember when I was manager at West Ham, we was on a bit of a tricky run, and we had a new owner, the Egg, I used to call him, Eggart, I can't remember his second name. My God, he was a pain, useless. And he had his head. He had his head in his hands. You know, he's literally holding his head in his hands. You know.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and the cameras are him. Like, what chance do you have when your owner's doing something like that?
Yeah.
So I feel for Ange in that game. Chelsea look to me like they need to kind of put a performance together. It's going to be a tricky afternoon there. I got Chelsea down to win that, but we'll see. And there's some other great games. Brighton-Newcastle stands out for me. What a game. And 6 v 4th. Who would have said this? Crystal Palace v Bournemouth. Yeah, boy. And Firmino, who's been the best player in the Premier League this season, down at Selhurst Park. That'd be a great game. Man City, Everton. You know, some really great games.
Yeah. And then there's Spurs-Aston Villa on the Sunday, which is the 2:00 game. One game I'm not sure how I feel about is the 8:00 on Monday, when my team Brentford go to West Ham, which I'm a little bit worried about, just because we're still finding our feet under Keith Andrews and
the new no bounce.
And there's that factor as well to consider. And we just can't win away.
Yeah.
You know, we're not doing too badly at home, although we lost, obviously, last time out to Manchester City, but that was only by a 1-0. But away from home, it's just been a bit difficult for Brentford this season. So I do worry about that.
I would be worrying if I was you, because I think the Hammers are going to win that.
Oh, great. Roll on Monday week game. Right, we are going to take a break. And when we return, we will reveal all with our mystery footballer quiz. But I say that, I just want to highlight again what you were saying, because people are getting confused with the Whitney Houston one. It's not the year it came out.
No.
But it was to do...
It was the golden period of this player's career.
Yes. And this song was used as part of an event, shall we say.
Yes.
That's what you were sort of referring to? Okay. We'll have more on that.
Well cleared up now.
I hope so.
We still ain't got an answer, have we?
No one has.
Okay.
Well, I say that. You still haven't properly revealed it to me. I'm just, I keep saying, no, we haven't a clue. But keep them coming into us. Remember, it was Barcelona. It was Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. But it was used in a context of an event, maybe a big tournament. Think about that. And then the last one was the year the player was born.
Correct.
With Nancy Sinatra's These shoes.
These
boots are made for walking even.
Boots, not
boots,
shoes.
Exactly.
Morning, evening.
Good night. Right. You've only got a few minutes to let us know. 03 717 223344 and 81089. Get in touch here on The Final Word on talkSPORT.
boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Okay. This is the final word on talkSPORT. Thank you very much for being with us this Sunday evening. It is Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you. And those were the 3 songs that hopefully led you down the path to find out who the mystery footballer was on the final word quiz. We had loads of guesses from Terry Venables, Gary Lineker, Brian Robson, Bobby Robson, another one mentioned too, Maradona, likewise.
Maradona, yeah.
But not right, I assume, Alan.
No.
Now, we have had one last one that came in. And you gave a little clue with regards to that second song, which was all about the big event, a big tournament of that year, which this particular player starred at, we would say.
Well, he won the Golden Boot and he also won the Ballon d'Or. And the reason he is being put up for this quiz tonight is because he was the greatest player ever to wear a Bulgarian international football shirt, in honour of you being the host this evening, being 50%.
This is correct. I'm
Bulgarian.
half Bulgarian, absolutely.
So Hristo Stoichkov, who I met actually when I was technical director at CSK Sofia, I met him a couple of times. A lovely, real kind of, still looks like a little ball. You know, he's still got them features.
Yes.
What a player. Those who have got long memories, you will remember him. If you haven't, YouTube him. What a player.
Yeah. And for those that might be thinking, Stoichkov, obviously we are going back a while, but you're right, that Bulgarian team in 1994 reached the semi-finals. Unfortunately, if you look at the current state of play of the Bulgarian national team, they're a long way off that side, who did also have Jordan Lechkov and Mikhailov and some incredible players, I have to say, who were lauded by Bulgaria, but unfortunately, didn't really move on from there.
Well,
but
England have been there many times.
Yes.
So we know
but
that.
Barcelona, obviously, massive influence on the Barcelona team when he was there too. And Dan from Grimsby messaged in.
Dan from Grimsby. This is what this quiz should be about. Just one man gets it.
Exactly.
Dan from Grimsby. Outstanding,
Well
Dan.
done, Dan.
Well done.
It
You
was
can
tricky,
gloat
though.
tomorrow at work. It was tricky. It weren't easy, that.
And if you're wondering about the Whitney Houston song, we should say, quick Google, she performed on the closing ceremony of the 1994 World Cup, and she played that song.
Well, we
as a
were
medley.
struggling for a second song, so we was digging around for that one. Yeah.
You can even find a song where he's singing Hristo Stoichkov, but we didn't think that would help anybody.
Did he make a song?
There's a romantic song, shall we say?
Oh, bless
I
him.
think he raps on it. Anyway, we don't want to go down that avenue.
Let's not go there. Let's just remember him as a player.
Exactly. Now, what we do want to finish the show on, of course, Alan, is grassroots
good.
shout-outs
What we got?
via WhatsApp voice notes. And as always, you didn't disappoint.
Your devotion should be to the people who started you off at a very early age, running your football team, getting the oranges, making sure you're there in time.
All skills learned in the park, jumpers for goalposts. And there's all that joy and the beauty of the game.
Pardew, what's the score? Pardew, what's the score?
From the parks and pitches from around the country, this is the final word grassroots football results on talkSPORT.
Grassroots football results!
Indeed. So let's get straight to it because we've got a few voice notes to play. And our first comes from Richard, the Brighton fan.
Hi guys, great show as always. Big shout out to Barmin Blues under 12s, played their cup game today, 1-0 down, and then the manager made a couple of substitutions. Left winger brought on, played the ball through to our centre midfielder who put it away twice in 4 minutes to win the game 2-0. Boys take all the credit, manager takes a little. It's Richard, Brighton fan from Kent.
Terrific, Richard. What a lovely
Well
shout. We
done.
love that.
And the manager get a pat on the back, that ain't often.
True. But let's hear what Sammy, the Manchester United fan, has had to say. Here's his grassroots story.
Hello guys, Sammy here again. Yeah, it's a grassroots story. I was a football coach many years ago for a 7-a-side football team, and the opponents didn't have a player. They were players short, so they got to. We lended one of our players. They were only kids. They were only about 8 years old. Our players scored a winning goal against us, My players were fuming at me, and some players are still talking about today, and they're turning 25. Yeah, just good memories from grassroots. Sammy, Manchester United fan.
Ah, see, that's also nice. Harking back to the days.
Yeah, well,
there's
lots of times when the teams don't have enough staff and you have to borrow one from somewhere, bus stop or something. There's a couple of players I've signed from a bus stop, let me tell you. I think they did. Yeah.
I'm going to quickly read out some messages as well. I'll do my best to get through them all. Ryan says a big shout out to Fisher under-14s who won 10-0 today in the London Cup first round. Bigger test to come, but a nice confidence booster after an up and down start to the season. Glenn from Ramsgate says, great weekend all round. My under-8s mixed boys and my girl team won 9-1. My girl scoring a worldie and 3 assists too. And my under-15
I love that.
Winning 9-0. And today my missus' under-15 girls team won 4-0. I love that. A family affair.
Oh, smashed it.
Absolutely brilliant. Simon in Manchester also goes with Cheadle and Gatley. Under-11 Valkyries won a thrilling tie against Richmond Rovers. 5-4 on Saturday morning. 4 goals from our number 10 Jessica and 1 a 20-yard screamer.
Jessica?
Yes.
Oh,
Jessica.
Well done, Jessica.
And this is a long one, but I'll do my best again to read it out. AFC Greenwich Borough women, I'm not sure, versus Ashford women. 6-0 they won. First home game under new sponsorship and ground, led by the captain of Kim Dixon. Amazing leadership, a big crowd and awards for outstanding performances as well from the academy players for the month. Daughter Emily Evans got a goal as well and a clean sheet. A very proud dad. That's from Jonathan. So loads of you getting in touch, and I apologise if we haven't read more out, but there's loads of lovely stories.
And you know, when I go back 10 years, there wasn't really Sunday morning football for females at all.
Oh, no,
nothing. Nothing.
Exactly that.
And like every week, we seem to get more and more messages about female teams and ladies teams who are doing brilliantly, etc., etc. So it's great. Love to hear from them.
It is great, and you're right. You know, as I was growing up, I didn't.
No.
I'd go and watch my brother play in his Sunday football team, but I was just there on the side. There was nothing for me to do.
Well, I had 2 daughters who constantly remind me about why I didn't take them into the park and train them up to be footballers, because obviously the rewards that these days are certainly worth that. Back in those days, there was nowhere for them to play anyway.
No, and no career to have with it either.
No, exactly.
Alan, it's been a blast. Thank you.
Thank you,
for
Natalie,
having
for
me along the way.
Lovely to see you.
It's been great seeing you too, and thank you to all of you contributing. It's been great fun. That is all from us today, but the talkSPORT Breakfast Show is back tomorrow morning for you from 6 with Super Ali McCoyson and Jeff Stelling, and it's a huge week for big name guests on the talkSPORT Breakfast Show, including Ian Holloway, Ian Rush, Matt Ford, and more. But if you need music in your life, we sometimes do need a bit of music, don't we? Why not head to the talkSPORT app and swipe across to find Chris Evans on Virgin Radio. The final word will return next Sunday, but coming up next on talkSPORT, it's time for all the latest from across the continent with Trans Euro Express.
Good night.